Hello everyone and welcome to our coverage of the 2018 Altibox Norway chess tournament. I'm Jan Gustafsson, and as you might have noticed, this is not Peter Svidler yet. I've replaced him with a sombrero for now. He is on his way. I believe he might be in the air from St. Petersburg to Hamburg, and I hope we'll have him for the later part of this show, expecting him here around 4:30, 4:45ish. So for the first couple of games, you will have to bear with me, and fortunately with hopefully all the players participating in the Norway chess tournament. I'm saying hopefully because there are some questions about Shahmamadyarov's ability to participate. There was a notification earlier that he could not partake in the Blitz because he has a toothache, and it was also in question if he would play the classical tournament. But now we are being informed that Mamedyarov will try to play in the Blitz tournament. In case you're wondering what this tournament is all about, this is a thing that's done reasonably commonly at Super Tournament these days, that before the actual top games are starting, they do play a Blitz tournament to determine who gets what seating number, which pretty much translates to who gets more whites, who gets more blacks. So the top 5 finishers in this Blitz tournament will be able to pick their number, and I'm pretty sure they will all pick a number that corresponds to 5 white games and 4 black games. I have slightly mixed feelings about this system because it's a bit of the rich get richer situation. Like Magnus Carlsen, for example, is extremely likely to finish in the top 5 in the Blitz, and that will mean that he will get 5 white games in the classical tournament, which in turn means that his rating expectation, for example, will be slightly higher than that of someone who does not manage to finish in the upper half. So to me, strangely, to have like the ratings more balanced, it would feel almost more one of the few cases where it could be a more just system to just do it by lottery. But that would not give us this spectacle, which is 9 rounds of Blitz chess featuring the best players in the world. What I'm gonna do is I will choose one top game per round and try to follow that as closely as possible. And for this first round, we will stick with the encounter between the world champion and his challenger in the last world championship match, Grandmaster Sergei Kayaking versus Magnus Carlsen. And we see there that Magnus begins the game with the move 1 e3, which is, arguably not the most critical move, but a move he's used, especially at faster time controls once in a while. Normally just a way for him to get a game, but Kayaking, of course, is not particularly rattled. Plays a classical setup, goes knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, d5, knight f3. I'm guessing he's going to play bishop e7. Yeah, there we go, bishop to e7. And Carlson is saying, no thank you, I do not want to play main lines with the pawn to d4. I'll play b3, short castles, bishop to b2. A setup that, by the way, Kayaking has some experience with himself. He's used something similar against Vichy Anand in an earlier candidates tournament where I might get the move order wrong, but it was something along those lines. He launched an early h4 and won a key game against Vichy. So Kayaking, by no means on unfamiliar grounds here. And he has decided to delay c5, playing the very solid b6, intending bishop to b7. And Carlson has to decide how he wants to arrange his pieces. If he wants to play quote-unquote normally, d4, bishop d3, short castles, or if he wants to go for some more aggressive plans with queen c2, maybe some rook g1, g4. Will be interesting to see what the world champion and number 1 in Blitz chess chooses here. Is he still thinking? There you go. He went c takes d5, and Kayaking is a classical player. He will play knight takes d5 here. Most super strong players, rightly or wrongly, I'm not sure, but they like to, probably rightly because they're super strong, they like to avoid these e takes d5, d4 structures. Even though Kayaking has some experience in those from the Queen's Indian that he's been playing. So knight takes d5, knight takes d5. Now with one pair of knights exchange, Kayaking says, okay, now I'm cool with this structure. Queen takes d5, I'm sure is an option here, but it allows white to develop a little further. Therefore, e takes d5. Queen to c2 and c5 on the board. In general, the typical dilemma when commentating on Blitz games is how many variations do you want to show. Normally the feedback I've been getting is let's stick to the game and not show too many lines because it gets too confusing, because the pace is fast. So I'll try to do that more or less and only show lines when I feel it's really needed. That was more a note to self. So a3, knight to c6, bishop to b5 has been played. Carlson's trying to lure this bishop to the b7 square, where it would be slightly misplaced after white d4. But after bishop b5, of course, that kind invitation could not be denied. Bishop to b7 played. I believe short castles, rook to c8. As you can see, the live board will be slightly ahead of the PGN here, which is often the case, and I'll sometimes type in the moves if I can see them on the board. By the way, give me some feedback. Is the show... Can you hear me? Is the show lagging? Because sometimes with all these fancy cameras running, this computer is aching a little bit. Hopefully not as badly as Mehmet Yarov's teeth. So let me know if things are running smoothly so far. If not, I'll just go passive-aggressive about it and complain. a6 bishop e2 on the board. So far, yeah, Kayaking seems to have a decent position to me. If he plays b5, for example, I'm curious what the plan is, because then after d4, black could just expand further with c4. And Kayaking chooses a different move. He goes d5 to d4, grabbing space in the center, which also looks very nice. I don't think Carlson has handled the opening particularly well here. Especially, I'm not sure where it went wrong. This rook ac1 move felt a little slow. And I'm reading, all good, working fine. That's great to hear. Knock on wood. So Carlson, after d4, forced to play some kind of ugly moves, I would say. Queen to b1, sidestepping d3 double attacks and potential, discovered attacks along the c file. Queen to d7, rook fe1. Kayaking is doing very well here. But of course that does not mean the end of the game against Mr. Magnus Carlsen. g6 played and bishop to a1. Very deep. g6 I'm not sure about. I understand it's nice to never get hit with bishop d3 and bishop f5, but it does give this bishop some ambitions for the future. And bishop a1 already hinting it. Let's maybe checkmate you on this diagonal, Mr. Kayaking, if you don't mind. He probably does mind, though. Rook fd8. Gurami Kakatsu is asking, where's Peter? Yeah, I mentioned it in the beginning. He's on his way, should be here in, give or take, an hour and a half. So hopefully for the second half of the tournament. Then we won't let him leave until the very end of the classical event, for sure. Why did Kayaking play a5? h3, a5. I'm confused by this a5 move. He wants to stop b4, but giving the bishop this b5 square seems like a fairly high price to pay. Especially since now after bishop f6, Carlson managed to get in b4 anyway. And it does look like Carlson has, after what seemed to me like a somewhat shaky position, managed to generate some activity. And is now, I'm not sure if better, but doing alright. This pawn could be a bit weak. There's some targets on the queen side, some bishop c4, eyeing f7 and b7 is looming. Yeah, bishop c4 played. So, some chances. Mr. Dodgy is asking, how long does it take to drive a Renault Captur to Hamburg? Is that the car Peter won in the Russian Championship? I think he mentioned that he was trying to sell it, but maybe he wants to drive it to Hamburg and sell it here. I'm not sure. Bishop c4, rook c7, covering both f7 and b7. E takes d4, knight takes d4, bishop takes d4. Getting rid of this useless bishop. If you were to take with the knight cd, the bishop looks a little silly on a1. So I like this decision. Bishop takes d4, bishop takes d4, I'm guessing. Knight takes d4, queen takes d4, and queen b6. Is that what happened? Always important not to go h5 in such positions and blunder the g6 pawn. The rook would also be a factor. Queen f4. Wow. Already having to do some fine balancing here to keep all the pieces connected, coordinated. Good news for black is that if white were to play pawn to g3 and queen to f3, that's a nice little checkmate on g2. So Mr. Carlson, do you put a rook on d1? Wow, that's passive. So he does say, okay, I don't have anything direct. I have to cover the d2 pawn. One more problem with not playing 1 d4 is that often on move 28 you have to cover a pawn on d2. Just play 1 d4, you won't have any such worries. King g7 played, good prophylactic move by Kayaking. Stop moving so quickly, guys. I need a while here to talk wise things about the position. Rook e3, c4. And a bunch of things have been exchanged and we reach an equal endgame. Is this a shake hand situation? There you go, draw! Exciting stuff, guys. But yeah, overall, good game by Sergei. Kayaking did not allow Magnus to complicate things too much or put any pressure. Draw in that first game. And that gives us a chance to meet some more of our players. For example, Messieurs. Now I have to find the right board, which will be tricky. Levon Aronian and Hikaru Nakamura have just finished their game, ended in a victory for Hikaru Nakamura. Let's briefly go through it, because this looks like a funny final position. I think all the games are over, so we're not missing anything live. Hikaru also one of the top Blitz players in the world, as is Levon Aronian, so this might be a bit of a key game for both of them already when it comes to getting those 5 whites they're craving. Levon Aronian plays a line. He's recently played with the black pieces against both Magnus Carlsen and Yevgeny Tomaszewski. This time he's on the white side of things, and he repeats the way Tomaszewski played against him with an early a4 and knight to e1. Both players clearly familiar with the recent Bundesliga game, Tomaszewski versus Aronian. Yeah, I think this knight a5 was a new move, recommended by yours truly, the computer. I also had a look at this. So far so good, looks roughly equal. And now it seems like Nakamura managed to clarify the situation in his favor, because this bishop is a monster on g6, controlling all the light squares, together with the horsey on b3. They look very promising. Aronian manages to break free. But the knight is still alive, and it comes to d3 with... I don't know, I'm not having an engine run, so I might be wrong about the evaluation, but it looks like it comes to d3 with devastating effect. Maybe queen c4 was wrong, because now queen e4 followed by knight d3 does look extremely dangerous. And here, the good old cliche sometimes is true. Queen and knight are often superior than queen and bishop. It does ring true this time around, because after king h2, knight to f4 would threaten a very, very lethal checkmate. So let's briefly go through the results of round 1, also meet the players of round 1. Ding Liren lost to Wesley So. Ding Liren has been unbeaten for like 300 days in classical chess, but lost his blitz game here against Wesley So. Ding Liren, I believe number 4 in the world in classical right now with 2792 something. He's on a hot streak. Shahmamedyarov, weakened by his aching tooth, manages to draw Vishy Anand with the black pieces. Monsieur MVL defeats Fabiano Caruana. Fabiano, normally, famously, we mentioned at this point, he's not a great blitz player. Then someone smart will tell me, no, look at the ratings. He's actually a good blitz player. He has 2800 in blitz, something like that. But he does not have a reputation for being as strong in blitz, or as focused in blitz, let's say, as in classical chess. Lose to MVL. We've seen Aronian lose to Nakamura, and we've seen Carlson draw against Sergei Kayaking. I wish I knew if I have to... change the PGN. I'll try. Yep, looks like it. So, which game do we stick with for round number 2? Khurana Nakamura, that's too juicy. Let's go with that one. I'm just gonna have to find the right camera. Well, the guys are changing. They're gonna do this manually, just after every round? That seems tough to do. Carlson, no, that's not it. Which board could it be? My problem is I have it labeled Table 2, Table 1, Table 3 and Table 4 here. So, throughout the tournament. Actually in the Classical we'll probably figure out what's what reasonably quickly. But throughout the Blitz, expect a lot of searching for the right camera. And here we are, Fabiano Khurana against Hikaru Nakamura. Evans Gambit is asking how long it takes from airport to your studio, Jan. I would guess it takes around half an hour. The problem is, in order to make it to the airport, your plane has to land at that very airport. It lands at 3:45, and then you know how it is. Sometimes you gotta make it out of there, out of that plane. So yeah, I think 4:30 is a very optimistic guess for Peter's arrival. So Khurana Nakamura, the two Americans who I think played I'm not sure friendly, but played a little match against each other, was it 2016? A while back, where surprisingly Khurana defeated Nakamura, because Nakamura was supposed to be the favorite. I think it was Rapid Chess and then Blitz Chess, but Khurana came through in that one, even though there were some voices saying that Nakamura might not have been 100% healthy for that match. These two guys, of course, the top two boards of the Olympic gold medalist winning US team that played with Fabiano Khurana, Hikaru Nakamura, Wesley So on board 3, who's also in this tournament, and now with the rise of Sam Shankland. And there are some rumors, I'm not sure how true they are, that Lenier Dominguez might also become a US American. The US team does look stronger than ever and probably will be the clear favorite going into the next Olympiad, no? Is that a stretch? Is Russia still the favorite? Sounds like a tough team. Khurana, Nakamura, So in whatever order, then Shankland. Pretty good. While these guys are arguing about when's the next round starting? Someone talk to me. I'll ask. Maybe people heard that Peter Svidler is having trouble getting here, and they said, lock the gates, we will wait until we have Paul Borta in his seat. We can't deal with this sombrero. And Galactic is asking, is Peter late because he thought he was playing in Norway chess? I don't know what's going to happen with this Mamedyarov situation. I do know how painful a toothache can be. I mean, it's worse than a man flu. So this is serious stuff. If Mamedyarov can't go, I'm not sure what they'll do. If they'll start asking around, I'm guessing Jon Ludwig Hammer is on site. He would be an obvious candidate for the replacement. Or if they'll just go through the rating list. Guys, how quickly can you make it to Stavanger? Take a flight to Oslo. We shall see. Ole Zeklem is asking, what time do second round start? I've been asking the same question. The answer is, no one knows. They did not release a schedule. So, many organizers handle this topic very differently. Sometimes they just keep going, and these 9-round things can be over in like 2 hours. As I recall from prior Norway chesses, normally that was the case, and the game started reasonably quickly. But sometimes I also like to have, a game start every half hour for TV reasons or whatever reasons. That's the way it's typically been done in the Grand Chess Tour. So, we might be here a while. Zachin Roy is saying, apparently Anish declined the invitation. That's also what I heard. I'm not sure how official that's been made. Yeah, I think Tarjei Svensson reported it, tweeted it or something. So that does seem that Mamedyarev's tooth situation was serious enough that they already reached out to others. And then, yeah, it's a tricky decision, of course, for people if they had other plans or they didn't prepare to play in a super tournament. If they say, this is a great opportunity, I'll jump right into it. Or if they say, nah, thanks, I don't really want to play without preparation and traveling last minute. I'm not sure. I'd probably lean towards the latter camp in such a situation, but I also feel that they will certainly find a replacement because it's a great chance to participate in, arguably, the strongest tournament of the year. We've had the candidates, but the candidates did not have Magnus Carlsen. And this is a 10-player field, which currently consists of Magnus Carlsen, Shah Mamedyarov, Levan Aronyan, Sergei Kayaking, Vishy Anand, Wesley So, Hikaru Nakamura, Fabian Khurana, Ding Liren, and MVL. It does not get much better than that. Who's missing from the top 10? Geary's in the top 10 currently, right? Let me figure that out. Kramnik is not there. Kramnik is world number 5. He's not playing. Maybe he did know what his schedule to get too crowded and therefore decided to skip that one. I'm not sure. But we do have the world number 1, 2, 3. Mamedyarov is 3, so if his tooth holds up. Number 3 is there. Number 4, number 6, MVL. Number 7, Kayaking. Number 9, Wesley So. Number 10, Nakamura. Number 12, Levan Aronyan. And number 14, Vishy Anand. Not easy to improve on that field indeed. Summerbird is asking, isn't there a tooth doctor around? I'm pretty sure they have dentists in Stavanger. But yeah, I'm not sure how serious the situation is, what can be done about it. Maybe he already went to a dentist and he knows the pain will be there for a while. No idea. Sachin Roy is saying, is toothache serious enough to not play a whole tournament though? To each his own, I guess. Depends on the situation. But I've had toothache and I could not imagine playing a chess tournament with it. The question is how quickly you can treat it and how serious it is, I guess. Evans Gambit is asking, how do you think is better Blitz player, Hikaru or Kayaking? Who do you think? I don't know. Like traditionally, Hikaru has always been considered maybe the name to beat in Blitz outside of Carlson. But Kayaking has been coming through a lot in these Rapid and Blitz events. Also, where did he crush everybody? Was it this Moscow Tal Memorial Blitz thing? So I think it's a question of the day. They're both very much up there if we go by current rating, even though that's not such a big indicator in Blitz because it fluctuates so much. Then Nakamura is number 2 in the world and Kayaking is number 6 in the world. Nakamura 2.878, Kayaking 2.841. So you would give Nakamura the edge there. But both of these guys capable of winning any Blitz tournament in the world. And we have more moves, so we will go to our featured game between Fabian Khurana and Hikaru Nakamura. Here we have these two gentlemen. And I shall try to move to a chessboard featuring their game. And lucky as we are, it's a gioco piano. That's Peter Lako, the whole Granca chess tournament. He was yelling, please give us an Italian. I want to talk about the subtleties here. And even though this started with 2 bishop c4, sort of an anti-Petrov move, it did transpose into the Italian. Let's see what these guys do. a4, threatening to win a piece with b4, a5, but normally it doesn't work. a6, rook e1, bishop a7, h3, and in this position, black has to choose his path. Bishop e6, knight e7, h6, rook e8, all these moves, very common. Hikaru decides to first reshuffle this problem piece, knight e7, headed towards g6, knight b2, knight g6, knight f1, the classical Spanish knight transfer to f1, bishop e6. Always a big question. Do you go bishop e6 or are you worried about these double pawns in the structure? Hikaru's saying, I'm worried about nothing. Give me those double pawns, then I will checkmate you along the half-open f-file. And White is saying, I won't get checkmated, and maybe I'll be slightly better. Later on, I might play d3, d4 after we stabilize. This is the typical discussion in the Jocko piano. Knight g3, h6, d4, knight d7, bishop to e3, queen to e7. And now White has to decide how to proceed. Releasing tension with de5 wouldn't yield him much, so I'm guessing he's gonna do something slower like a5, fixing the structure. And then maybe try queen b3, putting some pressure on this guy. a5 played, king to h7, just in case, defending the knight. Even though this does open the door for little tricks like knight g5 check, and if hg, there's queen h5. So king h7 a little double-edged, even though knight g5 check, of course, you would not have to take. You can just go back to g8 or h8. So it might be a bit of a blank shot. And Khurana doesn't even worry about it. Goes knight back to d2 instantly. Rook to f7. Trying to use all the pieces productively, even though it's always a bit of a problem in these structures. So once you remove this rook, you have to keep a close eye on the bishop on a7. So after d takes e5 or d5, this discovered attack does not cause any trouble. But currently, it would not be much of an issue, because de5 can always be met by bishop takes e3. Khurana puts his knight on c4. Fabian Khurana, who's been in great shape, of course, throughout the whole year, if we discount his very first tournament, Vaikanzee, has been on a killing spree. Won the candidates, obviously the most important one, qualifying for the match versus Magnus Carlsen. Then went on to win Grand Chess. Then scored +5 in the US Championship, which to his and probably everybody else's surprise was not enough to win the tournament because of the heroics of Sam Shankland, who scored +6. But what a year so far for Dr. Fabian Khurana. Was recently very slightly tainted when he lost a game to Anish Giri on the top board for my club Baden-Baden in the tiebreaks of the German Bundesliga, so that cost him some rating, but Baden-Baden won the match anyway. Therefore, I don't think Fabiano will be too upset about that, even though no one ever likes to lose. I like his position here. He's played queen b3, forcing the rook to go to b8, defend the pawn passively. Does not look like black has all that much initiative on the king side. And Khurana can now start worrying about the correct timing of either moving this pawn or attacking this pawn. Yeah, he's gone knight back to d2, targeting the e6 pawn. Nakamura retreats, goes queen e7, and Khurana plays queen c4, now targeting the c7 pawn. This is good Italian maneuvering. White is better. Rook to c8 played. The question is what to do next. b4 and telling b5 comes to mind. And more knight shuffling. I'm not sure. Knight f3, I'd always be worried about rook f3. And yeah, he goes knight to f1, maybe. Thinking about this, or thinking about pushing the d pawn and then recapturing on e3 with the knight. Knight to f4. Queen back to b3 and b5, very aggressive by Nakamura. Because he could have just kept playing more passively with rook b8 without creating any weaknesses by saying, nah, I'm not gonna play your game of jumping to the defense of these pawns whenever you want me to. I'll go b5, so I'll have some pawn weaknesses, but then my rook will be ready to join the action along the f5. I'm not sure how accurate the clocks are, but we'll assume they're accurate. 40 seconds for Khurana, 54 for Nakamura. But this is this new time control with, I believe it is, 3 minutes plus 2 seconds per move. So it's not so much about how much time you have on the clock, but about how well you adjust to that rhythm of making a move every 2 seconds when the going gets tough. And generally, Hikaru Nakamura is very, very tough in all these formats and very, very good practically at finding the correct rhythm. Well, Khurana, he's obviously capable of playing great Blitz. I just think he's less interested in all these formats and adjusting to it. Might be wrong about it, especially nowadays where it matters more and more to get more whites in the classical part and so on. But yeah, I don't think he takes that much of an interest in faster time controls as some of the other guys. Maybe he's more like a... what's the comparison? I don't know. He's more concerned about being the best in the world in classical chess, but he doesn't have to be the best in the world at Blitz chess, rapid and classical. While for Magnus, I think whatever he plays is just, yeah. His competitive urges are telling him, I must crush everyone. Well, I'm not sure Khurana has that outside of classical chess. I might be wrong. Just a theory. Anyway, we have a lot of moves and the position has become a lot more double-edged here. After this exchange on f4, which I'm surprised by that he would take here. Ef, bishop c1, and Nakamura expanding very quickly. Now, of course, you always have to worry. But queen takes h3, queen g2, checkmate, king h2, b5, bishop g5, rook c8, queen d3, knight to b6. I like black's position now. Not sure if there's any direct threats, but it does feel like white is the side that has to be a lot more cautious, and it's not obvious how white could improve the situation in his favor. The c file has been opened, and yeah, this looks very dangerous. At least he got rid of the f3, thorn in the flesh. Bishop to e3, still very double-edged. Bishop f4, knight d2. He's inviting him to take, and then trying to double the rooks on the second rank, which I believe has happened. Yeah. Bishop takes, rook takes, e6, rook cc2, king g2, h4, g4, rook d3, queen to e4. No tricks, rook g3 check. Doesn't seem to be winning, the e-pawn is strong. So, what are we headed towards? Perpetual check? Rook g3 check played, king f1, takes, rook f3, going after this guy. And I'm not sure why Khurana wouldn't play rook e2 here to cover it. But he didn't, he went e7, rook f2, king e1, rook h2. Maybe he's calculated that he's winning here. King d1 check, king e1, rook h2. There's a draw, right? Yeah, they've made a draw already. Sorry, I'm lagging a bit behind there. Let me just confirm with the comp. Why not rook e2? I don't get it. Yeah, rook e2 was good. I was not completely off there. Yeah, rook e2 gave white an advantage, and e7 forced the draw. So, bit of a missed opportunity there for Fabian Khurana. A lot of action. Did they make blunders earlier on? No, seems like pretty well played blitz game. Let's see if there's one still running. No, it's all over. So let's go through it. Shakhmatyarov. Draw against Magnus Carlsen. Offering a draw here with an exchange up. Is that maybe a hint that his tooth is still bothering him? Maybe he just thought it's a fortress. This knight is too strong. Sergei Kayaking wins against Levon Aronian. That's 2-0. No, sorry. I'm hallucinating. Kayaking obviously drew the first game, so he has 1.5 left. Wesley So versus Vishy Anand. Also a draw. And this one we've seen. And MVL against Ding Liren ends peacefully as well. So in the standings, lots of draws. We have Wesley So in the lead with 1.5 out of 2. Together with Monsieur MVL, Sergei Kayaking, and Hikaru Nakamura. Magnus Carlsen, 1 out of 2. Vishiana, 1 out of 2. Shachmat, 1 out of 2. Khurana, 0.5 out of 2. Ding Liren, 0.5 out of 2. And Levon Aronian loses his first 2 games. Gonna need a big comeback to finish among the top 5. Because this is one of these rare Blitz tournaments where it's really not so much about winning the thing. Of course, it's always nice to win. But a top 5 finish will make people just as happy. Or almost just as happy as first prize. I'm not sure this... you guys can't see that, right? Nah, the schedule is wrong here. Round 1, 3, round 2, 3:45. That does not sound right because it's 3:30 and we've already played round number 2. See, you can't fool me like that. I'm being told MVL missed 2 opportunities in his game against Dr. Ding Liren. Let's have a look. So far, no opportunities missed. Why is a little better, I guess, because the horsey comes here. Yeah, knight f5 looks unpleasant. Rook e8, queen f3, queen d7. Bishop h6, boom. What's the point after gh? Ah, just checkmate. That's a pattern I should be familiar with. gh, queen g3, queen g7. And yeah, I guess Ding has not been told that a knight on f5 is worth a pawn. So if your opponent has a knight on f5 and takes one of your pawns, you're 2 pawns down. Not sure if MVL had to settle for the endgame here. Looks, maybe not. I was gonna say it looks like there's some win, but then I looked at the computer and the computer says +1 and it's nothing special. Alright, here we go. When's the big chance coming? So far this looks like, yeah, decent winning chances, decent drawing chances, blah blah blah. And this is probably winning for white. F7 mistake. But what could be more natural? Compy says this is winning, but good luck calculating this with seconds on the clock. Knight d3 is the point, stopping the b pawn when these guys queen. Alright, he missed that. Tough cookies. Now it's a draw. Ah, now it's winning for black, so Ding also missed a chance. Bishop g7 here happens to be winning for black. Whoa. Lots of twists and turns. And yeah, now it's a draw. Alright. Fair enough. So, which game do you guys want next round? We make this a very democratic process, where I'll probably go for the first suggestion, or the second suggestion if I don't like the first, or the third if I don't like the first two. So, it's Magnus Carlsen versus Wesley So, Vishy Anand versus MVL, Levan Aronian versus Shahmat Yarov, Ding Liren, Fabian Khurana, and Hikaru Nakamura against Sergei Kayaking. Who you got? Nakamura Kayaking mentioned twice. That wins. Alright, you get your back-to-back Nakamura games for all the Naka heads out there. Nakamura Kayaking, are those two of our co-leaders? Sorry, I'm aware this is a slightly messy process, but I'm doing my best so that we can have the right boards. No. What are the odds? No. No. That's really bad luck if it's 5 boards and I need 5 clicks to find it. Rigged. Alright, while we're waiting for this to begin, let's have a closer look at the Mamedyarov Carlson game from round number 2. Mamedyarov, as we've mentioned, might be weakened by the tooth situation. Carlson freestyling a little in the opening here, bishop f5. It looks a little frisky. And Mamedyarov saying, you know what? I'm cool repeating moves any time of the day. I'm hurting here. But Carlson says, no thank you, I will go for knight c6, knight b4. I did something like this in a game against Khurana and got a winning position, even though it was slightly different. So I'll stick to it. White is better here, 2 bishops, but black has a lot of potential jumps. And after a3, one of the horses starts jumping. Rook e8. Rook h3, very aggressive. He's trying to checkmate on the king side. I would have thought about playing on the queen side, some b4, but it's always a little dumb ledge to open up that rook. And rook h3, the first computer move, so looks like it was pretty good. Bishop h6, bishop f6, bishop e3 back, queen b3. Both sides going for it. Queen b3, very daring. Bishop c5, dc. Can we go queen h6 here? We can go queen h6. Yeah, that's surprising because it looks like all his previous play was based on getting something going here. But he didn't do it in this position. And instead went d takes c6. After knight c6, knight d5. Oh, we got this endgame. Which I guess a little better for white. But he did not manage to win. So, on to round number 3. On to Nakamura versus Kayaking. Well, I try to throw stuff on the ground here, which I'm pretty good at. Getting lots of lessons from my daughter on how to do it properly. Here we are. Hikaru Nakamura with the white pieces. Going for stripes against Sergei Kayaking. Looking very aerodynamic, focused. Ready for action. Looks like no trash talking. Last year during the Blitz we had this bottle prank where I think was it Vladimir Kramnik that shook Magnus's bottle with sparkling water and had a great time when Magnus tried to open it and the water got absolutely soaking wet. Not today. Nakamura goes for b3 business, which he does quite often, especially in faster time controls. Knight f3, d5, b3, and it looks like we'll get a reasonably classical, what do you call this stuff? Double fianchetto, rati thingy. I believe that is the correct term. Not sure what this 95 business is all about. Because typically you see 95 after stuff like bishop g4, and white at least wins the tempo, and even there it's not considered to be that dangerous. So to go 95 unprompted here and exchange it does not strike me as lethal, but Nakamura just wants to get a position. Here's a plan, d3. Bring the other knight over here, I guess. And Kayaking normally is pretty good at not overthinking things in Blitz and just making, you know, decent moves at a fast pace. That's what makes him one of the best players in the world. Marie Kerstan, big expert, is saying, it is called Nimzo-Larsen attack. Is it when you have the knight on f3? I thought on all these Nimzo-Larsen attacks, often they want to go f4. Yeah, I might be wrong. Anyway, now the position is quite reminiscent to a king's Indian attack, but one pair of knights has already been exchanged. I believe this is a pretty good version for black. If white ever goes e5, then this bishop is freed, and with the one pair of pieces exchanged, it's very unlikely that white can organize a kingside attack. Well, black would have plenty of things to do here. a5, a4, c5, prepare c4 one day. So I think black is very fine here. And Nakamura correctly waits with e5, probably is still trying to get his knight here, while Kayaking tries to grab some space. I'm not sure about the combination of a5 and rook a d8. That looks, at least to my eyes, slightly strange, because it feels like after you started business on the queen side, you might want to keep that rook there, maybe put the other rook on d8. But what do I know? Knight f3, queen b7, knight e5. Yeah, looks like Nakamura's made more progress than Kayaking over the last couple of moves, but nothing bad has happened yet. Knight d7 seems very possible. Yeah, knight d7 played. Still égalité. Fuxia is saying 1b3 is already the Nimzo-Larsen. What happens later doesn't matter unless it's transposing. Alright, let's continue the argument, because this game started with the move 1 knight f3. Is that already the 1 knight f3 and we can no longer get a Nimzo-Larsen? Or is d5 b3, even though there's no pawn coming to f4? Is this Nimzo-Larsen territory? All you opening expert name experts out there, let me know. Knight d7, knight g4 played, going for cheapos with knight h6 one day, but not a threat yet. I still think black is fine. What shall we do though? I'm tempted to play king h8, but that's the one thing we shouldn't do, because now it's a pin. So, I don't know, rook f8 intending f5, is that a plan? Kayaking decides to release the tension in the center, which is double-edged, because you're also giving this bishop a much cleaner view than it had earlier with the black pawn still on e4. Either d takes e4 or even bishop takes e4. Could be a move. Yeah, bishop takes e4 played. Hoping for... What's going on here? I was going to say hoping for f5. But why is f5 bad? Not sure. Why doesn't this work? Bishop back takes... Queen e6, rook f7, bishop c6, something along those lines. Maybe. Not obvious to me. Bishop c6, queen somewhere, bishop d5. Very double-edged. See, a rook f8 would run to queen e7. Maybe he's calculated all this. And yeah, this happened on the... This appeared on the board. Wow. Because f5 obviously not forced. You can take on e4 or do whatever. But it does seem like Kayaking had the same question. And Nakamura is saying, don't you worry. I have all the answers. So queen c7, bishop d5, as I just tried, looked good for white. So maybe I have to do something else here. But I don't see it. Queen b6 as bishop takes d7. No, it looks like Nakamura just calculated further. Then... Kayaking here. What happened? Oh, he went knight c5. Maybe I have to take everything back, obviously. Did not see that move. So queen f7 forced because the queen is under attack. It does not have a way to stay connected to the bishop. So queen f7, king f7, bishop b7, knight b7. And what we got? We got a rook and 2 pawns versus 2 minor pieces. Always one of the trickier material balances that could favor either side depending on piece activity, pawn activity, how far advanced the pawns are. My best guess is that white is slightly better here. We'll see how it proceeds. Takes, bishop f6, takes, b4. Restricting the knight, bishop to g6. Body language doctor does believe that Nakamura is happy. We should have a real body language doctor to consult on the program. We are now calling the body language center in... I can't continue my train of thought, they're playing too quickly. But I like to have a real body language doctor to tell me who's confident, who's not. Rook a6, a4. Yeah, Nakamura's borderline winning here. All the pawns are weak. ba4, rook a4. Now it's 3 pawns. Now this is winning for white. Also, if you do have a rook against 2 minor pieces, you really want the 2 minor pieces to be knight and bishop. Knight and bishops are a worse team than 2 bishops for sure, and most of the times I would say then 2 knights as well. Knights and bishops, they're a bit like cats and dogs. They can't really be on the same team. They always get on each other's nerves. Yeah, this is just winning for white. What happened? Did he win? Yep, game over. Good job by Nakamura, I think, mainly, yeah. Daring Kayaking to go for this f5 move, which looked very tempting, but I think he had it either calculated further or evaluated better. That this endgame was pleasant for him. Maybe not bishop f6, but king g8, who knows? But it did look more pleasant for white. Good game by Hikaru Nakamura, who moves to 2.5 out of 3, which currently is the lead. Let's switch to Monsieur Carlson against Monsieur So. Are those the guys? Is that Magnus? Is he wearing a wig? No, maybe not. Is white winning? f6, rook c6. Now he's winning. Yeah, time to say goodbye. Carlson wins, and the game is over, just as we began. Rook c5, only chance e5 here, but then rook d5, I guess, is also winning for white. The king is too far away that you can defend a rook endgame like that, and the pawn endgame would be a trivial win. So Magnus Carlsen moves to a plus score, has 2 out of 3. Nakamura currently in the sole lead with 2.5. Which game are we looking at? Zachin Roy is saying things escalated in Anand MVL. Where's that? Anand MVL. Alright. This does not look very escalated yet. Knight c3, knight c7, takes. So far so good. And f5 looks like the action is about to begin. Queen d5, queen g2 check. I'm not smart enough to tell you why queen f5 does not work, but probably the computer is. Queen f5, knight e5 just doesn't work for black. Fair enough. So queen to d5 looks natural. Queen g2, king h8, f6. Threatening checkmate on g7. I'm guessing if rook to g8, then f7 wins. That was more a question. The correct answer is rook e8 wins when queen g7 checkmate is renewed as a threat. Therefore, queen g8 was played, but now Vichy just mercilessly drives his f-pawn home. And that did escalate quickly. Good game by Vichy Anand, moving towards 2 out of 3. Yarov and his tooth were fairly toothless in this game with black against Levan Aromian. Was another of these Jocko pianos we discussed earlier, where the question is always, do you want to allow these double pawns or not? Yarov says no, thank you, I'll go rook e8 first. And Aromian says, alright, I'll be slightly better in the maneuvering that is to follow. Does outmaneuver Yarov. Yeah, this is like a textbook Jocko piano game where black just gets completely outplayed. Bishop d6, c takes d6, and the knight would not have a single square. So, good job by Levan Aromian. In the standings, that brings us to this picture. Hikaru Nakamura in the lead, as mentioned, 2.5 out of 3. MC 2, Vichy 2, Kayaking 50%, Khurana back to 50%, MVL 50%, Wesley So 50%, Ding Liren hurting. Yarov 1 out of 3, Levan Aromian 1 out of 3 after winning his first game, and Ding Liren half out of 3. So I do hope they have a good dentist in Stavanger. The games start, I believe, at 4:30 tomorrow. So Mamedyarov could maybe schedule an appointment from, let's say, 1:30 till 2:30. 2:30? I've used that pun before. I couldn't resist. Because it's no fun to play with 2:30 in a chess game. Let's have a look at not only the Peter Svidler sombrero, but the pairings for last round. And once again, we will stick to our established process of asking which game you want to see and then choosing whatever game I want, hopefully after it's being mentioned. So we have MVL versus Magnus Carlsen. We have Shah Mamedyarov versus Hikaru Nakamura. We have Wesley So against Levan Aronian. We have Fabian Khurana against Sergei Kayaking. And we have Ding Liren against Vishy Anand. What do you want? All right, looks like we have enough votes for Carlsen MVL. So Dodgy is saying, should be able to get Peter on Skype now while he tries to find his many suitcases. Yeah, it's possible. I told him to bring his own ties. Nah, I did not tell him that. He's probably sitting in Hamburg airport, watching row number 9, St. Petersburg, last bag on belt, something like that. And you can analyze on the C24 limo. We don't even have lemonade, let alone limousines here. So MVL with the white pieces against Magnus Carlsen. Of course, bit of a connection there. Not only because they've played each other a million times, also because MVL was part of the team, such as yours truly, during the 2016 match against Sergei Kayaking. So both players very familiar with each other. I normally say MVL has a terrible score against Magnus, then I look it up and it's like -1 and then I correct myself. So I won't do that this time. I'll just say he has a terrible score against Magnus without looking it up. MVL does have the white pieces. Do we have a better angle of this? Or different angle, let's say? I'll once again go through all the little tables here. How unlucky can a single person be? That I always need all the tries to find the right board. It's really absolutely rigged. I'm getting weird messages here. If I use the camera's full screen, people can't hear me anymore? I'm pretty sure you guys can hear me. So, when are these guys back? Norway chess. Give us a schedule. The wait. It's killing me. What's the history of Norway chess? Who's been winning these tournaments? I do recall Kayaking won it twice, back to back, like 2013, 2014, something like that. Then Topalov won it once. Then, who else? Levan Aronian won it last year? Okay, I'll Google. And it seems like the schedule is a game every 20 minutes, which sounds fair. That would mean in 4 minutes we have a new game coming up. What was I going to Google? Norway chess winners. Who did I miss? We have Kayaking twice, Topalov, Aronian, and Magnus won in 2016, of course. I was there, I should have recalled that. He gave a touching speech in Norwegian, so I didn't really understand what he was saying. But he was clearly thrilled that he did win his home tournament in attempt number 4. So, this time around, who we got? Normally, I find it very hard to bet against Magnus Carlsen in any event. I always think he's the favorite. Of course, one could argue that, yeah, he's only won it once out of 5 playing at home, and there might be extra pressure, extra distractions, and so on and so forth. I normally believe in home disadvantage in chess, not in a home advantage. But I still do consider him the favorite in every classical tournament he plays. He's overcome that mini slump, or at least for his standards, where he did not win a classical tournament in, like, I don't know how long it was, 14, 15 months. He won Isle of Man, he won the Vikings tournament. Where else did he win? Feels like he won something else, but I can't remember. Mr. Dodgy is saying, breaking news, Jan bets on his boss. Well, I'm happy to take action too. If you want to bet on somebody else, Mr. Dodgy, I'll take Carlson. You can take someone else. There we have Monsieur maxime-vachier and Magnus showing up on the board. Looks like, yeah, once again, no troubles with sparkling water for Magnus Carlsen so far. Wearing his usual uniform with his sponsors on the jacket. Maxime also has a sponsor. I'm not sure if it's on his jacket or I've seen him in some shirt with his sponsor's name. We'll investigate. Evans Gamma is saying Carlson or any 2 players would be fair bet. I'm not looking for a fair bet here. I'm looking to make money off Mr. Dodgy, who was making fun of me for saying Carlson is the favorite. So, 1 knight f3, played by Monsieur maxime-vachier. Let's get to it. A lot of King's Indian attacks in this Blitz. Typically in Blitz, players don't really play their main lines, but they also don't want to play nonsense. So you get a lot of like playable systems that aren't very theoretical, like knight f3, g3, knight f3, b3. From Carlson we've seen knight f3, e3, c4, that kind of stuff. Obviously, they won't show, or most of them won't show, like the main lines they've prepared for the tournament. But they also do take it seriously enough to not, play too goofily. Chess Bay 94 is asking, Carlson has won this Blitz tournament every year. No? I don't know. I think Kayaking, and I'm reading out from Wikipedia that Kayaking won the first Blitz tournament in 2013. Then in 2014, Carlson won. 2015, they didn't have a Blitz tournament. And 2016 and 17, Carlson won again. That's why, man, it's a bit of the rich get richer situation that Magnus Carlsen is a tremendous favorite to get an extra white game in the classical, because that's what this Blitz tournament really is about. Therefore, yeah, it's a bit tougher for the low-rated players who are already low-rated, then they have to get more blacks most likely. Then again, hard to find underdogs in this field, which is, 10 of the very best players in the world. The lowest rated is, I believe, Vishy Anand, world number 14. There you go. This looks like a Kramnik game. Kramnik has been experimenting with these symmetrical Grunfeld positions. And then all kinds of slow plans where you go c3, bishop to f4, knight to a3, queen c1, bishop h6. And Kramnik has found many ways to put pressure here on black. If you switch on the computer, as I always say, black is fine. But yeah, it's one of these lines where you can play and get a fresh position, which looks like both of the guys were looking for. Knight d2 played. You can also think about f5. Carlson chooses door number 3. He goes e5. d5, knight e5, saying, you know what, if you want to take on e4, be my guest. Looks fine for black. Queen e7, king to h8, and then you start preparing, pushing on the king side, preparing g5. I like black's position here. Knight b5 played, maybe g5 immediately, rook a8 first, stabilizing. Also very logical. I don't know if you throw in h4 as white, but black just goes h6, and you could argue that opening the king side further after h4, h6, and then g5 just helps. Black, once he develops initiative there. So MVL instead plays on the queen side, goes b4, trying to get some counterplay. That's a lot more sensible. Queen f7, ba, ba. Magnus, not in a hurry, does not want to play g5, but instead wants to control the c4 square. Interesting. And MVL saying, not happening. I will play c4, even though you just eyed it. And if you take with the knight, I shall take on c7 and be back in business. c4, h6 played. Intending to play g5. Once again, the decision if you go h4 or not. c5 on the board. I still like black's chances, but I do like that MVL has found a way to create tension on the queen side. Now with his pawn moving up the board to c6. I should check my phone. It looks like Mr. Svidler is telling me getting a cab. He's on his way. So cab from airport to here, I guess half an hour. He won't make the next game, but the one after that. I can't do math. That's number 6. So we'll get like 40% of Svidler commentary for the Blitz. Nah, that's almost half. Oh boy. What's happening here? Bishop to b3, queen to c1, king to g7, rook to d2. These bishops are nice, but once the knight gets here, it will at least stabilize. The question is if black can just grab the pawn with impunity. And Magnus has taken on a4, knight to d4. So both these things happen. The pawn got taken. The knight stabilized the position. But a pawn is a pawn. Black should be better. Remove the bishop. Push it. Yeah, bishop e8 played. Just, clearing the way. For this guy, queen can go to f6 after bishop c4. MVL plays queen a3. Targeting the pawn. a5 to a4. I'm guessing. And we'll see. c6. Interesting. He's trying to cut that connection. Bishop d4, rook d4, and queen b3. Is that what's happening? No, just bishop d4, rook d4, and bishop c6. Oof. I missed that the pawn was hanging. Rook c1, bishop e8. Looks like white has a nice initiative, but black does have the 2 pawns. So let's see if MVL can make something concrete out of his very active pieces here. Rook c5, queen f6. Maybe he's just saying, okay, I can't improve my position further, but can you? I'm very active here. He's just going to play some bishop e2, but no, he's going after the a pawn. Boy, I don't have a high success rate guessing the moves here. Bishop b5, bishop f7. And if white gets the a pawn, his pawn deficit would be reduced to 1. And he should be in decent shape because of his activity. Now rook c6 played, trying to overload the black pieces. Rook e6, rook c7, queen e5. Has that been played? Or it looked like it appeared on the screen. Yeah, queen e5. Rook c5, offering a move repetition. Is this how it's all going to end? And yeah, draw agreed. MVL capitalizes on his very active pieces to make Magnus repeat moves here. Queen f6, and Magnus could not find a better way than to repeat moves. Queen g5, h4 doesn't work because you lose the rook. Bishop to e6 self-pinning does not look like great fun. Bishop to c4 or queen takes a4, and black is just so active. Maybe there's even a better solution. And rook to e6, rook takes c7. Did not look very inspiring either. Alright, so draw in that game. Let's jump to another one. How about Mamedyarov Nakamura? We can have a good look at Shah Mamedyarov, see if he is aching in this bishop endgame. Mamedyarov with the white pieces has an extra pawn. Position looks drawn to me at first sight because yeah, it seems hard to break down the black construction. The bishop can go to e8 to cover the h5 square, but it looks like Mamedyarov is trying. And yeah, draw agreed. There was not much to do there. Ding Liren lost again to Vishy Anand. What happened here? Queen f5, rook e1 check. Game over. Not Ding's tournament. And often if you don't start well, you have like -2 in these events and you feel it's unlikely you'll finish in the top 5. Then there's really not that much to play for the players. I'm guessing it's Blitz rating rated and they care a little bit about that maybe, but probably not that much. So if you're off to a bad start here, sometimes it's easy to lose motivation. Say, you know what, I'll focus on the classical. I'll save energy for today. Bit like the Houston Rockets, once you're down 15 in game number 6 against Golden State, you're just saying, you know what, I'll focus on game 7. I won't go all crazy here in the fourth quarter. I'm not sure if that's exactly Ding's train of thought right now, but things aren't going well for him. He was winning in this game. If we back up a little, I'm being told. I'm also being told flag job by Vishy, which I commend him, but it's tough to get a flag job done with this 3+2 format. Wow, rook c5, some nice tactics by Ding. Rook c5, hg would be checkmate. So rook d7, queen h4. This looks very nice. Takes, and rook g7 mistake. Queen f6 apparently was winning. Don't ask me why, it's still complicated. But yeah, it's not unbelievable that the white initiative is overwhelming here. So after rook g7, queen f6, Vishy found a very nice source of counterplay with queen to a1, intending queen to g1, and then queen to g3. Checkmate, which probably confused Ding because he thought he had everything under control. When bishop g2, cover that square, and Vishy keeps finding chances. Queen d1, threatening a check here. Queen takes e6, which is the losing mistake. There were some ways to draw the game still. The easiest one, I don't know, seems to be this, and perpetual check. And you had to include rook takes c6 to free the e5 square, because after queen e6, queen d2, now queen e8, rook g8. There's no check on e5, and you don't have time for rook c6 anymore, because of queen g2 checkmate. And after queen d5, queen f4. Vishy just got the checkmate. Good job by Vishy Anand there. What else happened? Fabian Khurana won against Sergei Kayaking. Where's the drama here? Kayaking doing fine. Pawn up, no? Oh, no, not pawn up, but pawn up soon. Yeah. And petite combinaison. So Kayaking lost rook ending a pawn up. That's sort of out of character. How do you lose this? He went rook b4, sort of bluffing that the pawn ending was winning, and his bluff was called. Well, if you go rook a4, should be a technical win for black. Put the rook on a3, start pushing. So that's surprising. Rook b4, and I guess, yeah, he had not calculated this race carefully. And now all of a sudden, white was winning. Maybe it was still tenable around here, but yeah. Uncharacteristic mistake by Khurana, by Kayaking to go rook b4 here. When rook a4, yeah. Gives him, I would say, a technically winning position. Pawn up, active rook. Looks fairly hopeless for white. And Zachin Roy and Mr. Dodgy already did the hashtag bad host thing like an hour ago, so you're not especially innovative there. And I think he did the exact same joke. Are you just copying Mr. Dodgy jokes now? That's disappointing. But yeah, I am a terrible host. What else happened? Wesley So is drawing against Levan Aronian. Looks nicer for white. Not really. These double pawns, they're pretty good defenders. So, not a lot to do. What do we have in the next round? Evans Gambit is asking how long it takes to leave airport once you arrive in Hamburg. I don't know. I've arrived in Hamburg many a time, and it wasn't always the exact same time until you leave the airport. Like sometimes your luggage gets there earlier, sometimes it gets there later. Sometimes you have to take a bus from the plane to make it to the actual airport. Sometimes you can just walk onto it. Sometimes you're at gate A38 and it's like a 20-minute walk till you get to the luggage. Sometimes you're at gate C15 and you're right there. So I guess the answer is it depends. As often is the case, if you know a lot about a topic, like I know about the Hamburg airport, you can't give much of an answer. When all Evans Gamble wanted to know, 25 minutes. But the good news for you is he's out of there. He's in a cab. And very soon we can replace the sombrero with the actual Peter Svidler. Now, let's get to the games. And once again, it's viewer's choice. What do we want next round? Do we want Magnus Carlsen, Ding Liren? Do we want Levan Aronian, maxime-vachier Graf? Do we want Hikaru Nakamura, Wesley So? Do we want Vishy Anand, Fabian Khurana? Or do we want Sergei Kayaking against Shahmaryarov? To help you guys decide, I will also inform you about the current standings. The current standings are Hikaru Nakamura in the lead together with Vishy Anand, both 3 out of 4. Magnus Carlsen on +1, such as Fabian Khurana, 2.5 out of 4. MVL 50%, Wesley So 50%, Shahmaryarov -1, Sergei Kayaking -1, Levan Aronian -1, and Ding Liren -3 in very clear last place. Alright, let's see the voting coming in. A lot of mentions for Anand Khurana. You got it. I don't think we've seen a Vishy game yet. I'll try to find the correct board. We are familiar with the process by now. Click on all of them. It will take 5 tries because that's the maximum number. It could possibly take 3. There you go. I always need the full 5 tries. It's very upsetting. Here we are, Vishy Anand with the white pieces against Fabiano Khurana. Let's check the Blitz rating list. Where are these guys currently? Khurana, number 10 in the world in Blitz, 2804. And Vishy, number 16, 2782. But in Blitz, I'm not sure what factor they use. It feels like the ratings fluctuate so much. Typically, it's a lot of games too. It feels like it's always a 40 factor or something. So that's. However, Magnus Carlsen has a Blitz rating of 2961, which is pretty insane. This is the current top 16 from 2700chess.com in Blitz. Carlson 2961, Nakamura world number 2, Artemiev big specialist 2849, MVL, Nepomniachtchi, Kayaking. Well, I'm sure you guys can read. Who's not on this list? There's no Shahmamedyarov. He's not a big Blitz player. Where do we get Shah? Ah, yeah, number 28, 2731. Everyone else on there? I think Ding was taken off of it for being inactive at some point, but no, he's here, number 15. So yeah, no obvious soft spots. Typically, being good at chess translates to being good at Blitz chess. Yeah, too early to say. I'm being told my list is no longer up to date, or was no longer up to date. Should refresh it. Didn't I just load it? You might be right. Here's the new improved list. New update list. See, it does fluctuate. Vichy Anand, all the way up to number 11. Things do move quickly. Khurana still number 10. Wesley So number 9. And so on and so forth. Magnus Carlsen down to 2958.6. Alright, thanks to 2700 chess. And there we see Fabiano Khurana against Vichy Anand. Fabiano on 2.5 out of 4. So still very much in the race for one of these extra wide game spots, as is Vichy Anand, the co-leader, with 3 out of 4. Not sure if there's a lot of trash talking going on. Does look like both guys are cool, calm, collected, focused. In general, you don't get a lot of trash talking out of Vichy and Fabiano. Even though Fabiano, I'm sure, on the way to the match against Magnus Carlsen, he'll be giving a lot of interviews, and I'm sure they'll do some hyping up, some Mayweather-McGregor style. Then again, they play chess, so it's not like it's the checkers world champion challenging the chess world champion in chess, or vice versa. Let's look at the moves. Another Italiano. So it almost looked like the Italian curse was over after, or not curse, the Italian trend, let's say. After we didn't get any in Grank chess, and not that many during the candidates. But it looks like, at least for this Blitz tournament, a lot of guys are saying, alright, let's compare notes on the Italian. See what you got there. If you want my notes on the Italian, I did a video series on it on Chess24. I was focusing on trying to go for a quick d5. But most of these Blitz games, guys have been playing with d6 and then either a6 or a5. So far so good. The usual juncture where black has to decide, do you play knight e7, knight g6, do you play h6, do you play with rook e8, then bishop e6, or the immediate bishop e6. We'll see how Fabiano Khurana handles it. Almost all the top players by now should be experts in the Italian, even though it has to be said that Khurana, his main opening has been the Petrov, not so much 2 knights e6. So he might be, I'm just making assumptions here, he might be a little behind on Giocopiano theory, because he had to catch up on Petrov theory. So he went a5, a4. Often we see white playing a4 earlier when that's obviously not a legal move. But here, Vichy does not mind allowing that a4, bishop to b5, targeting the pawn. Bishop to d7. What's the trick if bishop takes a4? Ah, I've seen this before, I think. The point is takes, knight here. And it's hard to defend this pawn. After queen d1, knight d3. I'm not sure if black is winning or anything, but he gets a tremendous initiative. So that's the point. Sorry, I was just curious. And back to the game. Vichy didn't take the pawn on a4, but instead went for normal maneuvering. Once again, white gets this d3, d4 before black gets d5. So white can claim a teeny tiny micro edge here. Knight to g3. And then bishop coming to e3. There you go. Whoa, f5 played. Khurana not sitting around idly while Vichy is building up in the center. He's trying to spice things up. Because the price you always pay when you play f5 is you weaken your own king a little bit. Khurana's hoping that the half-open f5 will compensate for that. Knight takes, rook takes, and bishop e3. Vichy not too concerned with this. The bishop covers d4 and f2. The doorbell is ringing. Who could that be? I gotta answer it. Okay, wasn't planning to show you guys that I'm wearing what's the word? Short pants. But was an emergency. I had to open the door for none other than the replacement of this lovely sombrero over here. Welcome, Peter Svidler.
Hey, home sweet home, or something.
So we're watching chess. They are
Yes,
playing.
people do, yeah.
Round number 5 in the Norway Chess Classic. Blitz Vichy Anand in the lead, together with Hikaru Nakamura. And did you run here? What's happening?
No, I took a taxi. I don't run.
Why are you out of breath?
I don't have any breath left. I don't know. Things happen.
All right. Then, who's better and why? Can I take a pawn on h6?
I was wondering about that, yeah. And he has taken a pawn on h6,
Wow.
so I would assume the answer is a tentative yes there. Although after rook h, af8, I mean, there will be some compensation. But the problem is the knight on d7 is hanging. I would like to take on f2 at some point, but there will be no reaction. Rook f8
I was
played.
going to react.
Well, no, I mean, not immediately. Rook f8, bishop b3 on the board. And here rook f2 would have been a good move, if not for the fact that there's queen takes d7. c5 played by Fabi. This is kind of the critical point. If white has to take on c5, black will have compensation.
Let me make some space for you. Sorry, I had all my collection there. My deodorant, my empty glasses, my
Your
empty coffee,
wireless charger.
my wireless charger, my headphones. Everything's there.
Yeah, so rook d1, cd4, cd4, protecting the pawn on d4 by tactical means.
Whoa.
Very clever. So they didn't have any pressure whatsoever, just went into the blitz without doing anything else. Yeah.
I didn't see any pressure. What I can tell you is that there was some drama about Mamedyarov, who apparently is dealing with toothache, and it looked like he was retiring from the blitz and maybe the tournament. They were already looking for replacements. There were
The
news
tournament.
that Giri said declined the invitation, the last-minute invitation to replace Mamedyarov. But Mamedyarov now is playing in the blitz, so we're not sure what happened there.
All of
But
this is
apparently he's
incredibly
hurting.
Yeah, all of this is incredibly confusing to me because
Have you been asked on the trip here?
No. But we've spoken briefly to Anish during the Bundesliga finals that I played on Thursday, where he won a very nice game against Fabi. And me, being the consummate professional that I am, I wasn't actually aware that he's not playing in this tournament, so I kind of assumed he was, because why wouldn't he? And he corrected me somewhat. It felt to me like he was somewhat upset he's not playing in the tournament. Therefore, I'm a bit surprised he declined to join the field when offered.
Maybe that's why he declined.
Yeah,
Felt he should have been invited.
Yeah, that is obviously.
And also, I was speculating about this a bit earlier, that for a player, especially a player like Anish, who's very, very strong in opening preparation, takes this part very, very seriously, that you might want more than one day's notice before playing the best players on the world.
Yeah, no, obviously this is a tournament where you have to balance, obviously, the desire to play in tournaments like this. At least for me, I mean, I always felt like an invitation to a tournament like this is not to be turned down. But if you have zero preparation time, you're unlikely to do particularly well, at least in the opening stage. And yeah, well, it's always been a difficult question for me, because I have been offered a few of these replacement spots in recent years, and I generally end up saying yes and then starting with 0 out of 2 or something, and then occasionally balancing the ship, and occasionally not.
Where did you start with 0 out of 2? Sinkfield Cup 2017, 16?
Yeah.
So that was a last minute thing?
Not entirely, but I still felt. I mean, I was, I think, replacing Vlad in that tournament, but the invitation did not come at the very last minute. It came late enough that there were.
In the meantime,
yeah. But
I'm not quite sure why, but Khurana has won this game. Is this like a malfunction thing?
On time, I suppose.
On time, but they have increment.
Well, I like Black's position, but nobody resigns. Yeah, nobody resigns here. So, yeah. The guess has to be Vichy forgot about the clock, but we don't actually know.
That's confusing. We have one game still going. Monsieur MVL against Monsieur Aronian.
Queen takes f3, that's surprising, because I thought he can go queen b5 and start giving checks, but maybe he realized that it's only one check after queen takes h3 and then king g7, and the rook controls the entire file. But what he is doing is also, yeah, then the game is over, because he, after queen takes f3, he played bishop g5 and then realized queen takes h3 still creates an unstoppable threat of mate in 1. And e7 is not going to be in time.
Quite. We can't even get out of this if we want to. Not that that will change. Alright, so let's look at results, standings, games.
Yeah, let's do that. This was round 5, I assume?
Correct.
Let me just get rid of those pesky sounds. And then we can. Oh, so Fabi is with this victory, he's overtaken Vichy. But Vichy is still fine, considering you only need to finish in the top half.
Yeah, it's one of these weird tournaments where finishing 5th is pretty much as good as finishing 1 first, assuming you don't care that much about your Blitz rating. I'm guessing this is Blitz rated. And I'm also guessing, you might know this better, that most guys don't care that much about their Blitz rating.
Well, I think in the context of this tournament, not particularly. Although the higher up you go, the more people maybe do care. I don't know. I recently played in a Blitz tournament in St. Petersburg, which was rated, and I actually kind of specifically inquired if it was, and started paying slightly more attention to my results afterwards. But in general, I mean, getting more whites in this tournament takes precedence. And possibly, I think the system generally is, if you finish first, you actually get to pick the number. So there is actually some difference between, let's say, finishing first and 5th.
There's a thing where you can choose if you want to start with 2 whites, or if you want to have like whatever back-to-back whites in the middle of the tournament and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Like Magnus was always taking. What was he taking? Number 5.
5, I think, to have the no doubles anywhere, I think.
All right, and then you start with white and finish with white, something like that.
5 gives you white in the first and last round, which is quite good in my opinion as well. So yeah, actually playing to win the tournament might make sense, but sort of specifically fighting for the 3rd spot as opposed to the 5th spot doesn't really make much sense.
But in general, it's more important to guys, so let's say conserve some energy rather than being 10 points high rated in Blitz after this tournament.
Yeah.
If you're whatever. +2, you're happy cruising to the end and not revealing all your ideas to win more games.
Yeah, it seems like 1B3 has made a huge resurgence in this tournament from the games I've seen briefly whilst waiting for my luggage.
I haven't seen a single B3 game, but it might be because of the ones we chose to cover.
There were at least 3, I think,
Wow.
which for 1B3 is quite a lot in the tournament. I mean, in this field, filled to the brim with theoreticians.
But that's more or less a typical occurrence in these blitzes. No, they don't play nonsense, but they also don't play theory. Like we've seen lots of Knight of 3, G3, some B3s you mentioned, and a lot of Gioco pianos, which I'm assuming is a tell that maybe the Gioco piano is not their main opening.
Yeah,
for the tournament.
I think you are unlikely to see much of what you are seeing today repeated in the main thing. Although, I mean, Gioco piano these days, I don't think you're likely to refute it with either color, so you might just as well play it to get a position and still play it in the tournament. And there actually, maybe you have some kind of a move order which hasn't been shown yet or something. It's still not going to refute the opening, but...
Alright guys, next round in 7 minutes. So this is the exciting point of the show, where I tell you who's playing, then you can say which game you want to see, and then we randomly pick one.
Sure.
Anand Carlsen.
Yeah, that's an obvious early favorite.
So Kayaking.
I mean, they're all going to be fun, but we should pick one. MVL against Hikaru is a very interesting game between two huge blitz specialists. Fabi's in the lead against Shah, who is indisposed, and Dingley and Renaronian. They played some interesting games in general, but I think it has to be either MVL against Hikaru, just because blitz games between those two generally have to be very interesting, or the Magnus-Vachier game.
I'm seeing 2 mentions of Magnus-Vachier on my screen right here. So we'll go with that. What could be wrong? With 2 guys that played 2 World Championship matches against each other. And have both, at least, I think Vachier, it's fair to say, he's been considered the strongest blitz player of the 90s, right? The 2000s, I wasn't sure.
Well, even in the early aughts, I think you would hesitate picking against him, let's say.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I can give him the whole decade, but I think the 90s, one can say.
I've told this story many a time, but yeah. My first encounter against him in Blitz after I played, I'm sort of the same generation as Vladdy, and I played him a ton, and I played people younger than him and older than him, sort of. I covered the Russian spread. And then at some point I played a friendly Blitz match against Vachier, and I thought, yeah, I haven't seen that before. Oli informs us that the next round is apparently at 16:50. Maybe there's a break after 5 rounds.
Would be odd because it's been every 20 minutes, so they maybe take an extra 10-minute break.
Yeah, that feels unnecessary for a Blitz tournament of this.
Don't you hate breaks in Blitz tournaments?
I
It always throws everyone off their
really
rhythm.
do.
I never get.
Yeah, whenever possible, I advocate no way. I mean, even if it means a really long, really hard day, I would prefer not to break the rhythm. And I think we were covering it from Stavanger, right? The year when Li Chao was on +1 after 5 rounds and then scored no points after they gave him 20 minutes to think about things.
Especially with 9 rounds, you can just, keep things rolling.
Yeah, nine is...
No one's going to get tired to play 2 hours.
Yeah, it's definitely manageable. That Blitz tournament we just played back home was 11 rounds, and it was played all through, and everybody was extremely happy because I think it's just the way it's supposed to go.
Again, there might be considerations we're not aware of, like the TV schedule.
Yeah,
Maybe
of
they have
course.
to throw some stuff in there. But in general, all things being equal, I'm also a big fan. As a player and as a commentator, they just do things very quickly in Blitz. Because so often, especially if you have like lunch break, like half an hour, everyone's just destroyed after it. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, the old system used to be have a small cognac instead of eating. That used to be the accepted system between high-powered professionals, but I don't think many people do that anymore.
Russian School of Chess, I had no idea. We're taught not to drink during chess tournaments.
There was, I believe the quote was, "A cognac before play keeps the pressure away," and it was attributed to Eric Lobron, so not Russian school at all.
Oh, okay. American-German school.
Yes.
I was told an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but maybe that's just a riff on Lobran.
Yeah. And yeah, I remember during before the World Blitz Championships became a thing. Arguably the strongest traditional Blitz tournament in the world was the Tal Blitz, where you took all the participants of the Tal Memorial and added some extremely strong players on top of that. And that was basically an unofficial world championship. It was a round robin, so it wasn't entirely, open format, and obviously people were missing, but still. And that was like a 17-round tournament played in one day. And then you do have a break. And I tried doing a number of things during those breaks. None of them really worked. I would still play worse in the second half generally than in the first half. But one of the things I did try was the Eric system. And you might play somewhat better for the first couple of games after the break, but then, at least in my case, you could expect a very sharp drop in hand-eye coordination and also brain power.
So take that as a lesson, kids. Don't drink and blitz. Or two.
And
Guillaume FL is telling us an apple a day keeps the doctor away if you aim properly. That's what Winston Churchill said?
Yeah, attributed to apparently.
Yeah.
Winston was a surprisingly vicious man, I guess. I don't know. And yeah, obviously, whatever all those things I just said, they come with a with a doctor warning, and drink moderately, kids, or not at all, and yeah, we do not on this program advocate heavy drinking, overeating, and I'll have to go with it, casual sex with farm animals, but yeah, it's all a long quote. You will forgive me for this one time.
Good to have you here.
And if someone can tell me where this quote is, where it's from, I will personally arrange some kind of a prize.
They have Google, right?
This, I suspect, might not be very easily Googleable, although it probably is, yeah. No, you need the entire quote. Just searching for this will give you very interesting results, but
I shouldn't do this in my non.
Yeah, it's the entire quote of starting from heavy drinking. Yeah.
All right. This is a family-friendly show, so even though I have a lot of opinions on interspecies erotica, I'm not gonna share them right here, right now. And Evans Gambit is saying, Peter, it is unreal how fast you come from airport to the show. Where are your bags?
They're outside. Yeah, taxis are, and I was extremely impressed with my driver, I have to say. He took me via some kind of extremely scenic route via the planetarium, and there's apparently this huge park I've never seen, which
I've heard of it. We call it the Stadtpark, which translates to city park. It's like in the middle of the city.
Yeah, well, I enjoyed that taxi ride.
Was it through the Stadtpark?
If that's the Stadtpark, yeah, it was through the Stadtpark.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, very nice. And there is a correct answer in there, which let's remember that username. I'll find some way to congratulate Brix1 on knowing.
Do you want me to copy paste it? Will you remember it?
I think I should be able to remember that.
All right.
I'll make a note nonetheless.
There's more answers coming in. This is not the official quiz, people.
Yeah, this is definitely not the official quiz.
So what have you been up to? You won in the tie breaks. Congratulations for our team. Bam Bam. We won the championship. You defeated our friend, Smitzy Boy.
Yeah, he seemed upset.
No one likes to lose.
Oh, I suppose so. Yeah.
That was a weird match. It looked like we were crushing them, but then in the end, I was
and then there were
biting
some,
my nails.
Yeah, there were some tight moments. Yeah.
By Crow, it was always a drawback. It looked like that game was turning, and then it was interesting.
No, I honestly thought he must be winning at some point, and then it looked like it's holding for white, but it never for a moment occurred to me that he might be worse. And then he actually had to bail, which he realized just in time, happily for us. But yeah.
What we're talking about is a tiebreak for the German Bundesliga title between our team Baden-Baden and the SG Solingen that has been a very resilient, nasty opponent for us the last couple of years. And both teams finished with equal points, so they played a tiebreaker where a lot of chess stars, including some of the players on this tournament, such as Fischian and Fabian Khurana, MVL, Peter Svidler, took place. And Baden-Baden won by the smallest of margins, 4.5, 3.5. Mikhailo Granik is asking, there will be official quiz. So you say I've polluted my Google history for nothing. First of all, yes. And secondly, yes, we'll have some quizzes, not today, but during the classical games. We'll give away some Svidler signed Max, stuff like that. So look forward to the site crashing because of your many correct answers at around, whatever, 200 hours in.
That's the tradition around here.
What else is new? What have you been up to? You won all these team championships, no? You won the Russian team championship, the German.
My club won the Russian team championship quite convincingly this year in the absence of the team that absolutely destroyed it for the past couple of years, and also won the European, which is why they were absent, because they don't need to qualify this year. They will play.
So they're saying whatever, we focus on the European, we'll save our budget to send a super team there?
Yeah.
That's and the Siberia team, right?
Yeah, and they sent what was effectively Siberia B, which did okay. And probably the biggest surprise of the tournament in terms of results was just how poorly the team we played in the last round did, with the team which...
That was the Shiro of Gelfand squad?
Yeah, the team which on paper looked maybe slightly stronger than ours, and they finished deep in the minus. They didn't even score 50% in the tournament, and yeah, that was a bit bizarre.
What happened there? Infighting?
No, I don't think there was infighting in the squad, but something. There probably was something wrong. I'm not entirely sure what, but they didn't play well. But exactly why they didn't play well is a whole different question.
We will never know.
Yeah.
Such as we will never know why they take an extra 10 minutes now. What can you do in 10 minutes?
Well, I
don't want literal answers.
Yeah, no, I was going with the continuation of on the previous Lobron inspired theme, but apart from that, not very much. Just meal around and bemoan the fact that you can't play on. That would be my answer.
Where are these guys? We've been there twice, right? Doing commentary or in Norway chess, or have I been there twice and you once?
I think you've been there twice and I've been there once as a comment.
When you've played twice, right?
Yeah, and I think I maybe even played three. No, maybe
thrice?
Yeah. No, probably twice, yeah, and once as a commentator.
Anyway, it's in Stavanger, but they keep changing locations, I think, even during the tournament. Sometimes it's in the hotel or one of the hotels they have there, then it might be in the concert hall. I might be getting all these things wrong.
Well, it's all on the website, and hint for you if you're visiting that website, it's in the, I think, about program section. Finding the schedule is, you have to do it once and then you will remember, but that first time might be slightly confusing. But all the venues are listed in the program, so...
Stick with the program.
Exactly.
I think we've exhausted all the topics. Good news, it's only 9 classical rounds.
Yeah.
So who you got for winning the tournament? The classical, I mean.
I understand. Magnus is sort of back to his winning ways somewhat, yeah, after winning Shamkir and...
He won Shamkir. I was blanking earlier. I remembered he won Vaikensee and Isle of Man and Shamkir, of course.
Yeah, so... Assuming he's playing well, you start the list by naming him, but it's going to be an interesting tournament. Obviously, the field is insanely strong. And he hasn't generally been doing particularly well in this. Has he won one?
Yeah, he won one in the year 2016. And 2013 and 2014, Kayaking won. 2015, Topalov, Magnus won 2016. Lev Aronian won in the year 2017.
Yeah, Lev played tremendously last year, I remember that.
Not just in Norway.
Yeah. But I thought in Norway in particular, he was really flowing. And I was...
Ambitious Pawn is saying, good lord, 10 minutes is an eternity. Jan can alienate millions of viewers. If we had millions of viewers,
Yeah.
like I'd be doing a whole other thing of alienating it.
Yeah, I was about to say that the statement in general is correct, but you are slightly overestimating the number of people watching this.
I'm still working my way up to alienating millions of viewers.
Yeah.
Mr. Dodgy is saying, I think we should talk about Blarney Lightning, which is Mr. Dodgy's translation for Banter Blitz. I speak Dodgy these days.
There will be some Blarney Lightning, I suppose, yeah. Although I would like to use this, while I have you as a kind of a captive audience and we're live on air, I would like to petition for one full rest day. But...
that was today. Love Chess is saying.
I kind of expected something like that, yeah.
Wait, Wikipedia says Bouvet Island is uninhabited. I'm not following.
Yeah, I have no idea what any of this means.
All right, back to chess. Vishy Anand, sporting a solid blue shirt against Magnus Carlsen, sporting a solid light blue shirt. What opening do we expect? Jocko Piano?
Vishy with white? Yeah, something E4 related. Anti-Berlin Jocko Piano.
Isn't the Jocko Piano the best anti-Berlin?
Well, arguably, yeah.
Also Magnus, he's been doing a lot of knight c6, a6, so you have to deal with two systems if you go bishop b5.
Sure. No, well, you can't rule anything out, obviously. And I think Vishy already... I think he beat... What was that game? Somebody played knight f3, g3, and then c4 after to g6 and won a nice-ish game.
That was Vishy against MVL, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah. So Vishy has already been showing some knight f3, g3 in this tournament. We'll see in a moment.
While we're talking about, this sounds like a can of worms. I probably don't want to open yet. IPL final. I don't know what that is, so I have a strong idea what it probably is. NBA finals will get plenty to talk about, but not today. Those guys are so focused. Last year the atmosphere was all loosey-goosey with Kramnik doing that sparkling water prank, and now look at them, they're statues. Or maybe our stream froze. No?
No. Yeah, and some kind of an open game. Knight f3, knight c6 about to be played, yeah, and bishop b5.
Ugh, come on, Vishy.
And
You're gonna destroy my last bit
and
of
knight f6.
100 street crap.
If he doesn't go, yeah, and he does go d3. So
very disappointing.
I got.
You got 8 prediction points.
8 prediction. Well, some points. Yeah.
No, it's 8.
Okay.
Knight f6, d3.
Yeah, bishop c5 played.
That's what they do. Bishop c6 or c3 or castles. c3.
He played c3.
Well, these theory hipsters, they go d5, but I'm not sure Magnus is so hipstery here. He might just go castles d6. They've discussed this.
Yeah,
position.
castles d6 h3, judging by what I've been looking at the video screen.
97 is the main line, but there's other moves.
Yeah, of course. I think there has been some kind of a resurgence of people playing a6 here. Bishop b6 is what Magnus played here. I always felt bishop b6 was maybe the least critical of black's options, but in general it's also perfectly fine, of course.
a6 would be strange coming from Magnus because he's the guy who played bishop takes c6 unprompted in these positions. He will have to argue that the horsey is powerful and should be removed. He played knight e7.
Yeah, the one arguable drawback to playing bishop b6 is that you do allow knight c4, knight takes b6 if white wants it, but these days white doesn't really want it because it is felt that black is fine just exchanging that bishop off for a knight. Yeah. So they're going to get... is knight g3, g5 this whole huge theory position which has been discussed at length in high-level practice at some point. Is this that position or not? Like
d5 of h6 or what did rook e8.
He played d5 immediately.
Ah, he went d5. All right.
Yeah, I thought it was white to move for some reason, which was a mistake.
So knight g3. Can you just take?
I think you can just take, yeah, and that probably is almost entirely equal, or you can attempt to keep more pieces on the board. I think you can play h6 here. The point being, after e5, knight d5, the e5 pawn is not hanging. There's bishop takes f2 in the end there.
Oops.
Yeah.
Typical trick.
Yeah, this is a very, very standard tactical justification for not protecting the e5 pawn. But he's already taken. Yeah, he's already taken on e4, and Vichy is. Well, I was about to say he hasn't taken with the pawn yet, but he's probably not going to take with the rook on the second iteration.
Boring. Takes bishop e6 equal, no?
Yeah. No, that's.
Or maybe some knight g5. Maybe we have to take some care.
But shouldn't be anything special, and
you started with bishop e6.
You started with bishop e6, once again giving white an option of keeping some pieces on. But Vichy, I think, is not in any particular mood.
And he's also saying if you go knight g5, I can.
Yeah, there is some bishop c4 ideas. Yeah, bishop b3, queen e7. I think we can sort of establish that of the two players, Magnus is kind of more interested in keeping this alive.
They're both on +1, so they
Yeah.
probably also, or Vichy's probably thinking, okay, Magnus is not the guy I have to beat to make it to the 5 whites.
Yeah, so while it's not too late, we might perhaps abandon this endgame and switch to something which might present more entertainment value.
This looks more fun.
Yeah.
So Kayaking.
Yeah. I don't know whether this has any kind of great relevance towards the standings, but the position is a lot more lively. So let's go with this.
Even though it might peter out to the same sort of structure we just saw.
Well, not immediately.
Not easily.
Not immediately. And the tactical justification for c4 obviously is that if you take it, I take with the pawn and the knight is hanging, and then the pawn on d3 will be hanging. But white can play rook d1 in the current position, or even if he's feeling adventurous, castle long. But castle long feels a bit dodgy because a3 might be.
Come on, Wesley.
Well, I don't know if that's going to work.
There you go.
Castles, and Sergei immediately takes on d3, which is somewhat surprising to me, because I honestly did think a3 was quite interesting there, because it would force white to break open his structure on the queen side. And the position Wesley got now, I think, is... Well, it kind of depends on whether black can actually at some point play g6, and if g6 will force white to retreat with the knight, because in many cases in positions like this, g6 is just g6 is just being ignored. And Sergei, on the other hand, is trying to actually establish exactly the same structure on the queen side, which is quite nice. He played knight a5, hoping to get knight c4 and b5, which would be a mirror image of what Wesley is doing on the king side.
So maybe he was taught that a knight on f5 is worth a pawn, but he's trying to win his pawn back by.
Yeah, and Wesley took on a4, which is...
I like it.
Yeah, I think you
2 pawns up.
I think you have to. b5.
Wow.
I was wondering if that pawn could also have been taken, but Wesley decides to not get too frisky with capturing every single sacrifice. But now after knight c4, it's a bit awkward. The a2 pawn is hanging, and it's not that easy to protect, because b3 knight a3 check, of course.
It's great pity queen a2 doesn't work. It's so close.
Yeah, that would be extremely beautiful, but it doesn't. Rook eb8 played for...
This looks like a great attacking position for black all of a sudden, no?
Well, the lack of the a-pawn is arguably playing in black's favor, and b3 played by Wesley. I expect this to be met by knight c4, which already has been played.
By the way, Vichy Magnus has been drawn.
Yeah. b3, knight c4, bishop c1. So Wesley is keeping it somewhat under control, and this setup could have been prevented by playing knight c4 first, which is why I was...
and then bishop c1, rook a2.
Yeah, rook a2 I thought was working, which is... Okay, let's show this briefly. Yeah,
I try not to show too many lines, but it's important.
Knight e3 check here, and if queen b3 we have rook a8 check and we win the queen. This was kind of my justification for wanting knight c4 immediately. Sergei still has decent positional compensation for the pawn here, but I think what he is doing is a lot slower. And white has established a decent defensive setup on the...
g6. That's sort of an admission that I can't make progress on the queen side. So
I think he played knight a3 check first.
Ah, sorry.
Yeah, and g6 has been played afterwards. But yeah, now white has more or less stabilized. Black still has compensation, but one pair of rooks very likely will get traded off along the g file, as we already see, and then black will no longer really have any attack.
Does black still have compensation?
Well, some. I mean, if bishop h6, bishop f4 happens, black has some play against the white king side. But yeah, white is much, much better now. And I don't think he was necessarily much better immediately after the pawn sacrifice.
The knight goes back to f5.
Yeah, seems like Wesley is
feeling himself.
About to give some mate. Queen f6 played. I think rook g7 check was more or less winning there, but instead Wesley played queen h6, rook f7, g5, which might also be completely winning actually, because if queen e6, now rook d8 check wins. Yeah, and this is what they have on the board in the game. Yeah, the game is over. Queen e6 check, rook d8 check, and Sergei had to play bishop f8 immediately, because otherwise there would be mate on the g7 square. And here he's just a full rook down after rook takes a8.
Nice win by Wesley. So
yeah, there was one turning point in the game, I feel, where maybe rook eb8 was a bit too slow, and knight c4 immediately would have led to a much more unbalanced position. But after that, I think Wesley's play was exemplary.
This looks fairly even, at least the final position. MVL against Hikaru ends in a draw, and Fabiano Caruana is still slugging it out against Shakhmatyarov and his teeth.
Yeah, the h-pawn is probably going to cost a piece, but whether white can be in time to create something on the other side of the board is the question. And judging by what already happened,
it's like no.
Game, yeah, the answer has to be no.
The h-pawn.
Yeah, it's not even going to cost a piece. I think it's actually queens here.
Yeah.
This is the final position, and yeah, Fabi lost, which shakes everything up. And Hikaru seems to be, according to our screen, seems to be in the lead, ahead of more or less the entire field.
Hikaru is 4 out of 6, everybody else is 3.5 out of 6, which mathematically does not work.
Yeah, there must be some people in a
ding is suffering.
Yeah, in a horrible minus, but yeah.
We'll get to it in a minute. After le finale. Queen f7 check, king h8, I'm guessing.
Yeah. And he went for this pawn endgame, which I assume is drawn because black is just in time to play a5 here. And the pawn's queen at the same time. Yeah, this already happened.
Yep.
Well, he did it even one move earlier. It doesn't change anything. Okay. So this game is going to be a draw. Probably already is a draw.
Yep. All right. So let's look at results, standings, pairings, all the good stuff. That game did end peacefully. Hikaru Nakamura leading the field. I was asked earlier, who's a better Blitz player, Nakamura or Kayaking? And I sort of bailed out, because they can both win any Blitz tournament at any point.
Yeah, and this represents like a huge shift in understanding, right? Because Hikaru has always been very well known as a tremendously strong Blitz player, and Sergei, he kind of crept up on us. I think.
Yeah, but these World Blitzes, he's been so consistent for some years now.
Yeah, but that's maybe recent 2-3 years where he's established himself. Because I mean, he could always play. I mean, none of these guys were ever known as hopeless Blitz or rapid players. But
normally the list was Carlson or Nakamura are the best, and then Aronian is good and so on, and everybody else is good too.
Yeah, I would get MVL and Lev in there. But these days, any conversation has to include Sergei's name at in the top 3 names you mentioned. Just judging solely on results, by results.
All right. So anyway, we have Hikaru 4 out of 6, Carlson 3.5, MVL 3.5, Visciana 3.5, Khurana 3.5. I'm still always surprised if Khurana does well in a Blitz tournament, even though I'm aware he's 2,800.
He's improved. He's improved tremendously from
Wesley. So 3.5, and then
Yeah, Lev's -2 is what surprises me here. Ding, I don't think is a very well established Blitz player for the.
He was World Blitz #1 at some point. Probably a small sample size.
Yeah, but I think this kind of stabilized, and I mean he is clearly a tremendously strong player, but I think in this field he was never going to be the favorite. But yeah, Levon -2 to me suggests that he doesn't really. He thinks the tournament starts tomorrow.
Yeah, but there's also things go slightly wrong. There's no soft spots here.
Yeah.
In
Plus,
the field,
plus of course the field is so
Khurana
strong.
doing well. Where's the weak Blitz player?
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, let me bring up the next round's games. Have you kept track? Next round is number 7?
Yeah, that should be 7.
Maybe the 4 out of 6 that Nakamura could have given me a clue.
Possibly, but
I don't really.
Okay. Now we stop with that, I guess. Well, it's not on the people's screens, so we'll.
The people don't have a choice. We're going Carlson Khurana because those guys will meet each other in a little tournament called the World Championship match.
Yeah, that has to be the starting point, and I don't actually expect this game to fizzle. I think Magnus will be taking this very seriously, and
generally Magnus white games. Of course, it happens sometimes, but if he can avoid it, he won't let it fizzle.
Yeah.
There's a question by Anton S. He's wondering, Peter, what's the next tournament you'll play?
I am flying to China from here to play a Rapid and Blitz match against Yu Yangyi.
Ah, Yu Yangyi.
Yeah.
Didn't you mention who you found at some point? Did that change? Or?
That is still under discussion.
Ah, sorry. Oh, no. And then I confused it. So, Rapid and Blitz means what?
I think 8 Rapid and 12 Blitz. I would need to look it up again. I'm an extremely confused individual these days. So.
That's right after this?
Yeah, I fly directly from here without. Do not pass go, do not collect.
No. I don't get Monopoly references. What do you get when you pass go? Is that even Monopoly?
$200, yeah.
$200. Yeah. And Mio, my Oracle, is saying, wasn't it Carlson Nakamura and Grishuk for a long time? That's fair.
Yeah, that is fair.
Should add that fair. To the list because when did he last? He won a World Blitz recently, right? He won 3 times.
He won Berlin, which was 2015. 2015. Yeah. And like in my mind, he will always be the 2006 I want to see World Blitz champion because that was the year where we finished shared first in a round robin and played an Armageddon game in which I was black. And I had a very easy draw, which I could see was a draw, and I decided instead of it to make a flusher a draw, which turned out not to be a draw. And yeah, that was arguably the closest I ever was to a world title, if we don't count the World Juniors and the Fisher Random titles.
Any other titles we're not counting?
Yeah, plenty, but those are the ones that come to mind.
Gurami Kahatse is summing it up as MC versus FC.
Yeah.
Motorcycle club versus football club?
Something like that, yeah. How about them? Yeah, I don't know if that's the time for those. How about them German goalkeepers? But
I know nothing about football, so probably all these questions will be just flying right over my head. Such as the balls have been flying right over Manuel Neuer's head. What's happening? Neuer's hurt or what?
Let's not go in there. Yeah. That's for us non-Real supporters. Yesterday was very painful.
I'm literally very ignorant on all these topics, so tell me.
Real won the Champions League final yesterday against
Real.
Against Liverpool. The final score was 3-1. Out of those 3 goals, 2 were sort of entirely made by goalkeeping errors, and the keeper is called
German dude?
Karius, I think.
Karius?
Yeah.
Never heard of him, but as a kid I had a book called Karius and Bacchus which was teaching you the importance of brushing your teeth.
Yes.
All right. Okay. But he's probably not on the national team, right? Do we have Karius?
I mean, football is not my game either. But yesterday was, the one time I actually switched the TV on purpose and not by mistake to watch that.
Okay.
And it was kind of painful.
Do you think when people meet Karius, they say, "Hi, Karius"?
Possibly.
It's possible.
Yeah, I mean, as Evans Gambit is correctly pointing out, the one goal in the middle of two horrible, horrible howlers was arguably the goal of the year or goal of the decade or whatever. But yeah, the other two were like you have to see them to believe them. Yeah, and people are pointing out that Artemiev is number 3 in the Blitz rating list.
We know, we had the Blitz ratings up here earlier.
Yeah.
Has he played a lot of these super tournaments against Blitz? Not to take anything away from
He played in March in... what was it called this year? I think it was called Tal Blitz.
Oh, right.
He didn't set the world on fire, but he did perfectly well on an incredibly strong field. And generally, I think up to this point I played maybe 3 tournament Blitz games against him. And I never really felt like I was getting outclassed, but I did lose 2 of them, sort of both times kind of without really understanding why. It kind of creeps up on you slowly. That's not entirely true. That happened in this Tal Blitz game. The 2 games we played previously, I blundered one game away and won the second one. But I think the thing about Artemiev is that he has a very, deceptively non-flashy style of Blitz. He's just
a good technician,
yeah,
grinder.
He is a very, very solid player. He is very fast. He doesn't blunder.
Those are the guys that do well,
Yeah.
or often these guys do well at Blitz. If you have a steady rhythm, you don't blunder, you're a good technician.
Yeah.
Fabian Khurana can do all these things, but yeah. I was discussing this with myself earlier, that even though, he's improved as a Blitz player, always feels like it's not really his priority. Like Magnus wants to win at whatever he does, but Fabiano feels like he wants to be world champion in classical and everything else. All right, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Abbey World 69 is asking, when will Anand win a super tournament? Anand, he did win the World Rapid.
Yeah, he won the World
recently,
Rapid, and
if that counts.
yeah, he hasn't really been winning the classical tournaments. He plays, I think, very often these days, but he's done well in a number of them.
He came very close in one of the Norway chesses. I went to Palov one, I think.
But yeah, I mean, considering that he only plays the absolute top events, not very many people win them consistently. So
not very many people win them at all. Like normally Magnus wins like half of them, and then
last year Lev won the other half.
Yeah.
It felt like Lev won the other half.
Anyway, we have some moves. Yeah. Carlson versus Khurana.
Yeah. An opening, you will be able to tell us something.
This is called the Rubinstein Nimzo Indian. 4e3 is normally a way to say, I don't want that much of a theory debate, but I want to play a sound mainline opening, get my pieces out. e3, short castle is the accepted mainline at the highest level, bishop d3. Here you could write a book on c5 or d5 first, both have small differences. One is that after c5, knight e2, you're not in time to go d takes c4, which it would be after d5. But of course, c5, knight e2, d5. A very main line of chess. c8, knight d5.
They used to say that in positions with an isolani, the knight on e2 is horribly misplaced, which would probably mean that white generally does not want just castle and go cd4, ed4 here, right?
I'm a bit confused because the main move order, as far as I know, is cd, ed, knight d5, castles, and now they do something knight c6, rook e8, whatever.
So it was either some kind of a finger feller or just he replied too quickly to kind of think through these things properly. Or
might be a finger fail because now there's dc5 could be an option maybe. But Magnus just castles.
But also it gives white the option after she takes d4 of taking on d5 and then taking on d4, although you're not going to get very much there. And cd4 has been played, so we'll see if Magnus wants to deviate. No, and he just takes with the e4. I think, as I said, this used to be understood as never being anything at all for white, because it was felt that the knight has to be on f3 to control more central squares to support your kingside play in the future and so on. But it's still obviously very playable.
And maybe this including a3 did achieve a little something, because if we do, I'm not sure how much opening theory we want to discuss, just brief. If we do this, I'm reasonably sure they often go rook e8 and bishop f8 in these lines, so you don't have to get stuck with the bishop here. So yeah, we'll see.
And Fabi went with a very quick knight e7, knight g6, diffusing the battery. One thing I was kind of wondering about was knight c3, bc3, e5, but once again, that's a whole different game and maybe also not very good, so let's ignore it. Yeah, with a knight on f3 here, you would go h4 very happily. This is, immediately we have a position where it's quite obvious that you'd be a lot happier with a knight on f3 here than a knight on e2. Bishop g5 would always be a move. Knight g5, queen h3 would be an idea in all these positions. And in general, yeah, you do prefer it on f3.
Sure. But you never get this position with a knight on f3. No one would do this. No.
Knight takes d5, e5 played. Queen takes d5 was...
What do you call this structure? In German, Svidler. These two deep pawns staring each other down.
I don't think it has a name in Russian chess nomenclature. Bishop d2 played, yeah, I'm not at all surprised the bishops were not traded on d2. Bishop f4 is a clever little move, though.
That's cute. Same. Please let me check with you.
Yeah, also not going to happen, but c7 is the square where this bishop kind of wanted to be, so yeah, Fabi is no longer dodging this exchange.
Nice board vision by Magnus to spot moves like ideas like bishop f4. So.
Yeah, rook e8, queen bishop c7, queen c7. These positions sometimes are slightly better for white.
Yeah, I think it might be seriously better. Knight goes here, the bishop goes here.
f4
this
f5
can
also.
Be passive. This is looming.
Yeah, f4 f5 is something that I would be extremely interested in with white here, but then again,
it's what you did to Smatesy Boy. It's fresh in your head.
Sort of, yeah. But also, I think the reason knight c3 was played first was that black were kind of threatening bishop b5, queen takes c2, and Magnus did not want to allow that, because the difference in bishop quality here is arguably the largest explanation for why white is slightly better in these positions. Queen g3 is slightly surprising, though. I think this is kind of minimizing the playing field to an unnecessary extent. Unless the d5 pawn just falls, which it might do. They takes, bishop c6 played, and he even took on g6. This I do not like.
He's dumbing it down to just good knight, bad bishop, but is this enough for a victory?
I think these positions are generally supposed to be holdable. It's not particularly pleasant for black, and white will play on forever, not without justification, and the famous Karpov-Kasparov game, the GH4 knight G2 game. Yeah, that game is still fresh in everybody's mind. So even at the very highest level with adjournments, people occasionally do find ways to cause problems. But that endgame, I guess you can argue, is maybe the most white can get, and even that, if I remember correctly, was a draw for the longest time. Karpov needed to make a number of large mistakes to lose that.
So what does white want to do? Expand on the queen side, or what do you do?
I'm not entirely sure. In particular, because of what the structure looks on the king side here, you, I think, will struggle to make much progress. But
he brings the knight here.
Yeah, he's keeping the rooks on for the time being. Knight e3, rook c5, b4, b5 is like a pipe dream, but b4 will always be well met by a6, I guess, and then pushing b5 will be extremely difficult. But g3, f4, f5 at some point might become an idea to fix it, to create something you could very loosely term a weakness on the king side. But of course, in general, black's position is extremely solid, and it will be very, very difficult to prove.
a4 played.
White has anything at all.
Bishop a4, rook c7 looks nice, but obviously
it's a slightly different position. But yeah, he is at least asking questions. If you play a6, the c5 square becomes an incredibly attractive final posting for this e3 knight eventually, which is why Fabi is declining to do this, at least for the time being. And once the knight lands on b4, you will have to start thinking if a6 is a threat or not. So.
And after a4, a5 was a little awkward because of rook c5 at least. So, yeah.
I'm wondering why rook h8 was so necessary when it was played, but I guess maybe he did not like the idea of the white rook landing on the h file. Yeah, and Fabi goes with bishop b5 followed by b6. Knight gets rerouted to c3 now to cover rook e8, rook e2 ideas, which was, I think, one of the reasons why Fabi went with this bishop b5 setup.
I'm reading that the video was slightly ahead of the PGN, that Colin has added a 19 seconds delay on the video, so these things match up closely. Mr. Dodgy is saying, I can't bear being 19 seconds behind on real life.
Yeah.
I'm dreaming of only being 19 seconds behind on real life. I think it's more 19 years.
Yeah, and whilst we were discussing all those delays, it feels like Fabi made... Oh, I don't know if that's progress. I was about to say he made a lot of progress, but he may also have lost the rook, which could be a bit of a problem. Now knight a2 followed by b4 and then knight c3 back. The game appears to be over.
Magnus is tricky.
Yeah, I was about to say that I don't like allowing the rook to b4, and then Magnus just captures it there. Yeah, this is one way to lose these positions.
Pretty cute construction.
Yeah, not a way I've seen before, but yeah, it's just resignable because it's a full exchange you're losing here, and then all of your pawns will start falling.
He's also not in a particular hurry, it seems. He just invites his bishop to e4. He's saying, whatever,
Yeah,
I'll go here.
Yeah. No, this is just pretty much game over. King d7, king c6 is at least an attempt, but Magnus will
not taking it.
Yeah, Magnus will take only when he is good and ready here. He is actually, I think, threatening to go all the way up to a4.
To go here and get a whole rook.
Yeah.
Ah, that'd be good. But bishop c2, you have to be careful about bishop c2.
Yeah. Well, you need to put your pieces on correct squares to do all that. But I guess it actually works.
I'll have to see a rook up position because I need some high-level examples for this book I'm working on. So that'd be excellent.
Yeah, I think this is now finally over. With the king on a3, the rook is free to start roaming, and yeah, he doesn't actually have to take on b5. He doesn't have to win the rook or even do anything with the rook.
a4 and rook check looks like a good plan. Yeah. And Khurana resigns. Good Artemiev-like job by Magnus Carlsen. Not sure that's a compliment.
Yeah, I don't know if he would take it very...
and Vichy just keeps winning games. Levona Romyan gets checkmated again with the white pieces, similar.
Yeah, and this line has already been played once in this tournament, and I think Lev won against... Yeah, Lev won in exactly this line against Shah earlier.
Yeah, he just crushed him.
Yeah. But not so this game.
Still looks...
Well, no.
Looks like a good start for Lev somehow, but then things get out of hand.
Yeah, here.
Counterplay.
Yeah, here it no longer really feels like he's in control of what's happening on the board. And a very nice little petit combinaison at the end there.
Oui, le combinaison. Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Overloading, or what do you call this?
All kinds of...
Fear and overloading in Las Vegas.
Novotny crossings everywhere. And Wesley has beaten Shah, who continues to struggle.
Still hurting.
Yeah, still hurting. Obviously, that was seemingly from a very, very safe position to begin with. This escalated at some point. Actually, Shah, once again, I'm not entirely sure about this, but while reading through the notation, it feels like Shah has been doing very well out of the opening, and like around move 21, I think he's a full pawn up.
That's not the typical Shah narrative.
Yeah,
he's doing well in the opening, and then things go downhill. But yeah, probably he is not 100%.
Yeah, that's not your typical Shah loss.
We'll keep you posted on the dentist situation there if, Shah can play in the tournament if he decides the pain is too big. I'm not an expert on toothaches, But those can be serious and they can linger too, right?
Yeah, and
I can believe it's tough to play chess one.
if it's something serious that kind of flared up very, very close to him departing, because in general, like if you have 3 days preparation, I'm sure he could have found a way to deal with it back home. But if it kind of flares up as you're boarding a plane, you're in a lot of hurt there. First of all, I think it might get exacerbated by
Flying, pressure stuff.
Yeah, pressure stuff connected with flying, and in general, if it goes untreated for a while, you're going to be in agony and really not enjoying life very much.
Then again, they probably have good dentists in Stavanger now, so maybe they can
Yeah.
something happen.
No, I mean there's absolutely no question about the quality of dental help available to them in Stavanger. I think there could be some questions as to how cheap it is, but
Yeah, but I'm not sure that's higher on the list of Schach's concerns if he wants to back to this tournament. I'm not sure. I'm mentally going through my dentist jokes here. I don't have that many. They might have the dentist of the year over there in Stavanger. I think there's a guy who has a plaque in his office saying he's the dentist of the year.
yeah.
I've already mentioned, but and this one's too good to not repeat. The round starts at 4:30 tomorrow, so Schach can probably get an appointment from 1:30 till 2:30. Okay, I'm done.
You've actually done that before.
Yeah, this is one of my go-to dentist jokes.
But I'm trying to figure out how you justify doing a dentist joke, because I can't remember any dental-related topics we ever had to
I've had a lot of dental work done this year.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Which turns out, if you don't go to the dentist for like 15 years, then they make you come more than once if you then show up.
Yeah.
It's all good. I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm sure you guys are really interested.
Yeah.
More parodontitis treatment. I don't know what stuff is called. Next round, number 8.
Yes.
So, once again, chat, which game would you like to see? I will talk you through the options. Magnus Carlsen, Levon Aronian. Enough said. MVL, Shahmadyarov. Ding Liren, Kayaking. Khurana, so they're both Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And Vishianand, Hikaru Nakamura. One of them is American.
In terms of tournament standings, it has to be Vishay against Hikaru, because these are the two guys on +2 share dying for first. And actually, the situation in the tournament has, what's the word, stratified somewhat. There are 4 people on +2.
I don't know what stratified means, but there are 4 people on +2.
And MVL, somewhat surprisingly, the only person on +1, and then 5 people on 50% and below. So you have to assume with 2 rounds to go, people on +2 are virtually guaranteed a place in the top half. You have probably to lose both to be out of the running.
So will we see some strategic draws between +2 people?
I think Vichy already, his game against Magnus has shown that.
But those were +1 people. They've both won the game since.
Yeah, exactly. But already then Vichy had shown that he understands the strategic considerations involved in playing in this Blitz tournament. So I'd be surprised if he went all out to test Hikaru in something extremely sharp. Whether Hikaru will be compliant with that plan is a whole different question.
All right, so we're going with Anna Nakamura?
Yeah, I think in this list it has to be that game.
The big question is... oh, yeah, found it. And, of course, if this game ends in a draw in 5 moves, we can switch.
Sure. 5 moves is unlikely, but it might not be the most eventful game of the round.
So what's the... let me get back to the tournament situation for a second. What are the... if we assume all the +2 guys make it, then there's only 1 spot left, right?
Yeah, there's only 1 spot left, and people
MVL,
on 50% are still very much in the running. in particular, who is MVL?
There's only one people on 50%, so it's MVL, Fabi, and Kayaking would need to win.
Yeah, even Kayaking, because Kayaking is actually playing MVL in this round. If he beats MVL, he catches up with MVL on 50%, and they very possibly get tied for 5th, because Fabi does not necessarily have to beat Magnus. No, that's round 7. Fabi is playing who in round 8? Fabi is playing white against Wesley, yeah. I honestly don't know who I think is a favorite. I mean, it's one game, but let's say if I imagine in my head a 10-game match between these two guys of 3+2, I have no idea who I'm picking. I think they both can play very well and they both can be somewhat lackluster.
And my new friend, my Oracle, is saying, never seen anyone in a shirt, jacket and shorts. Really, haven't? Common fashion in Germany. Yeah, everybody walks around in Germany like that. It's also very common fashion for broadcasters that you only have to dress well until the waist. And normally, honestly, I'm Donald Ducking it, so that I'm even wearing shorts is great news for all of you.
Yeah, and I'm sure all of you can appreciate just how ecstatic I am about...
me not Donald Ducking it today.
Yeah. And 9 days of you supposedly Donald Ducking it afterwards.
That might happen.
Yeah, whilst I have to sit next to the duck.
You're welcome to Donald Duck it too. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Awkward silence it is.
Yeah, well, I think we're going with awkward silence after that. Yeah.
That's fair. I also forgot which game we're covering. We're covering Vichy Nakamura, even though deceptively MVL versus.
Yeah, we could also just do that.
Anyway, could be key match. Well, I don't know. Now let's stick with Vichy Nakamura. We promised.
Also, MVL is not playing Kayaking. I misread that completely. So.
MVL against Mamedyarov.
It's about to start, so...
Come on, guys. Vichy does not talk a lot of trash before the games, does he?
No.
After the games?
Not to me, but I can only quote personal experiences.
He's very sharp, though. He doesn't show it that often in interviews, it feels like, but I think Vichy doesn't get enough credit for how fast he is, like, with banter.
Sure, he is. There's a lot to enjoy there, especially if you're not on the receiving end of it.
Even then, he's very fast.
Yeah.
And Peter made me sub. I think I made this guy subscribe, but I'm not sure. And saying, has Livon recovered from his candidates?
Can I have a look at the
Great question.
Profile pic for a second there again?
No.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure how to make it bigger, unfortunately. Here you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Patrick Antonius. Congratulations.
Yeah. Why are you so bitter?
I'm very bitter about all your hobbies, you know that.
What? Looking at glorious, stunningly good-looking Finns.
He's a very handsome man.
Frowned upon, or what?
Yes.
That shouldn't be the case.
Another anti-whatever?
Seemingly.
Same old, same old. This is the line they made a quick draw against Magnus again. I'm regretting this choice already.
Well, Hikaru goes rook e8, which might or might not be a slightly sharper game. But Vish
Who did rook e8 recently? Wasn't that... maybe Vityugov played against Magnus himself? I think so.
Possibly. And
small subtleties, so you can meet bishop g5.
The Khurana Wesley game is, I think, my game against Dubov.
Oh, that's my bishop f5, queen d7 line?
Yeah.
He went h3, king h2. Interesting.
That's what I did as well, yeah.
Oh.
Did not enjoy it greatly, but...
I always struggle against rook e1, bishop h1, and never know what to do.
Yeah, let's
not particularly relevant.
That's a very sharp position. I remember I was horribly worried about this g5, g4 plan during the game. Did not materialize. I still lost horribly, so...
I won't find it. I just won't find it.
What are you looking for?
This game. feel like I've exhausted all the options now.
You just had it on table 1, I think.
Was it table 1?
Yeah, if you...
Oh yeah, here are the guys. Sorry. Yeah, this looked more exciting. Bishop f5, I've played this line a lot. Intending queen d7, bishop h3. h3, one way to meet that plan. And h6, g5, I like it.
Yeah, and Fabi went knight g1, g4, h4, which I think is very logical. But then Black has a very nice e5 square for his knights for all eternity, because the pawn will never reach f4.
Now we switch from trying to checkmate to arguing, but strategically now we're fine because we have all these dark squares,
Yeah.
right?
Still, compared to some other stuff you occasionally get in the c4, c5 English, this is a lot more exciting.
Yeah,
And it's also
weird
interesting that you can make an argument that this was Wesley's choice, because generally d6 bishop f5 is only one of very many things you can do against c4, c5, g3.
Yeah, even this position, you have like
Yeah,
18 playable moves.
Yeah, and Wesley is on +2, whereas it is Fabi who badly needs to win this game, which is what is interesting about this opening choice.
But yeah, I think Wesley, he likes to stick, maybe even in Blitz, to his main opening. So maybe if he thinks bishop f5 is a good move,
Sure.
that's what you get.
Sure. No disagreement there. Yeah, this could get very, very sharp. So far, Black is sort of holding the pattern, and also e6. I'm wondering why e6 hasn't even been played on the previous move, because I'm guessing b takes c5 and just some kind of a piece sacrifice was forthcoming. Yeah. But e6 is a threat, and this is probably the biggest reason why knight h5, bishop f4, which looks kind of awkward, has been played, because you need to create squares for this knight on d5 to retreat to. But e6 might just win a pawn here, unless Fabi is planning to reply with b5. Bishop h8 I don't quite understand though. Bishop h8 feels unnecessary. Also, you're really...
e6 is no longer...
Yeah, and you're also really, really taunting white with the idea of playing e5 bishop before check. Yeah. It's not mate, because there's always f7, f5 there, but it's incredibly... I mean, your eye has to be horribly drawn to this idea, and then queen takes g4 in the end, and some kind of mate. There is no mate, but you really want there to be some kind of mate.
Feels like Fabi's done better than Wesley over the last 6-7 moves.
Although he did play bishop e3 back. I guess once again, currently there may have been some threats to his pieces in the center, but yeah, I don't know. Rook b8, queen b8. Structurally, Black is still quite sound, but his pieces currently, I mean, the bishop on h8 and the knight on g8 don't really inspire much confidence. They will have to, at some point, come out of the corner. Fabi is not making any progress, though, so they might eventually do.
Just to briefly show you what you've not been missing.
Yeah.
In Anand Nakamura. They are trading pieces.
Yeah. Not the most exciting game of the round. And once again, now that the queen invaded and the a-pawn feels like it will be very difficult to protect, I mean, you might have to sacrifice it immediately. You could play a4, but it feels like if Black wants to go after it, they will eventually pick it up. Yeah, feels like there probably has been a more energetic way of dealing with all this. I don't really like what Fabi is doing.
Rookie 1, Rookie 2 does not look like the fastest way to handle the business.
Bishop c1, rook b8, yeah. Unless he explodes into action somehow in the center, but I don't really see
it's
how.
It's about time before rook b1 lands, no?
Yeah. And rook b1 has landed, so I think he's in horrible trouble now.
What does that mean for the tournament situation? Wesley would be safe.
Yeah, Wesley is.
And Fabi would be out.
Yeah, win and in and lose and out, as they say.
It's an elimination game for Fabiano. Does he look rattled?
No, I don't think he really cares. greatly, but
Shouldn't you care a little though? I mean, even if you don't care about the blitz, it's 5 extra whites, which or 1 extra white, which translates to I don't know 2 rating points on average. I don't know.
no, I mean I'm sure he cares, but it's not the end of the world, and he was never really assured qualification in the way the tournament stacked up. So I think he tells himself that he went for something which he thought gave him the biggest chance of playing a complicated game of chess.
Which he did.
And yeah, he got outplayed seemingly, but you can't blame the intent there. The intent was correct. Another 6. Wasn't he? Okay. No, he.
Nice.
There's
Bishop 6 and Queen 6.
Yeah, there's a queen on A1. Yeah. It's so far away that it's easy to forget that F6 is protected more than you would originally think. Yeah, and now that one of the knights got driven away, black should be able to consolidate and win somehow. Just knight d4, for instance. Just start bringing more pieces in. Or queen d4, knight b4, and pick. Yeah, I don't know why. Is Wesley horribly down on the clock or something? Why is he repeating on?
I don't know.
Because I really don't see.
Draw will secure qualification.
Well, I mean, he does go knight d4 now.
There you go. And about the clock, I'm not sure how accurate ours is, but it says yes, 43 seconds. And also with increment, I don't think the clock matters that much as long as you have the rhythm.
Yeah. No, and once the pieces start coming in, it's going to all collapse here. And
just drawing some arrows.
Yeah. Black is about to pick up some additional material here. Queen c2, I guess, is and this is what he plays.
Gone, baby, gone.
Yeah, there are no.
Oh, hang on. What's the queen doing on f4? But he took a rook or something.
He lost a piece on the queen side. In the meantime, he did get some threads generated on the king side in the meantime. But bishop h5, you can go d5. If all else fails, you can go d5, which is what Wesley has done. You could also, I think, go take on e5 and I mean maybe even take twice and then play f5. But this is perfectly. This is perfectly good enough. Yeah, this game is all over bar the shouting. The game between Vachier and Hikaru has been drawn in the meantime. It got slightly sharper at some point, but was still comfortably drawn. Dingliren has beaten Kayaking, which deals a very serious blow to Sergei's chances of qualifying. Fabi is still playing, but yeah, the result is not going to be in doubt in that game.
I still want to see it. But yeah, it's too many knights.
Yeah, and MVL lost to Shah, which means that Shah is kind of climbing the ranks and
Shah still in contention?
Might be in contention if he wins the last one with white against whoever it is that he's playing against with white.
And Shah would have played really well in the last 2/3 of the tournament.
Well done, sir. I could. Rare case where I could actually see it coming.
I was still pleased with it.
Yeah. MVL lost with white. What happened there?
Let's
see.
Go.
Oh. Black has fewer pieces, which means that at some point he... Oh, I've played this line with white. I don't know if I agree with the idea of taking on c6 though. That seems unnecessary.
So far, so good. Whoa! Action.
Yeah.
I heard this guy, Mamadjara, is pretty decent with the initiative.
Yeah, well, MVL won a piece on the king side, but then failed to stabilize.
This is probably already
This is this is very, very difficult to play in practical terms. Maybe it wasn't lost even until the very last moment, because instead of king f1, something like queen f2 might be still, game continues, but obviously it's a lot easier to play with black, and here then bishop on f3 gets lost, so MVL resigned. So what we have here
is failure.
Is failure to communicate, exactly.
You're quoting Dylan, I'm quoting Guns N' Roses, so it's not the same reference.
Am I quoting Dylan?
Isn't it Dylan? What's the original?
I don't think it's Dylan. I think it's a movie. Isn't it a movie?
I'll look it up in a minute, but I'm
pretty sure it's a movie quote.
Yeah, it's Pulp Fiction, but it's still.
No, it's earlier than Pulp Fiction.
Oh no, I'm wrong.
I actually did some research on
No,
this
it's
some
Pulp
time ago, but
okay, this is important.
we need to know.
Yeah, Wesley's an elite. Vish.
I'm already doing it, so you don't have to. You show the.
Wesley's 5.5 out of 8. Vishy's 5 out of 8. Khurana Kimura's 5 out of 8. Magnus Carlsen 4.5 out of 8. He's doing the typical thing.
It's from Cool Hand Luke, which is a 1967 movie.
Okay, tell me if it's Guns N' Roses.
Well, obviously it's on Yu-Gi-Oh! Illusion 1, but no, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, what else? 1 or 2. And it's not Pulp Fiction?
No, but that's cool. That's from Cool Hand Luke.
I'm not giving up yet. I've seen Cool Hand Luke. It's an excellent movie.
Anyway, standings, pairings, things. So Vish is in, Hikaru's in,
Chat keeps telling me Cool Hand Luke. I might be.
Yeah, Wesley is all the way in. As are, I think, Hikaru and Vishy. Magnus with a loss could make his situation tricky.
He's playing Hikaru, who's in with a draw. So
Yeah, but no, I think Hikaru is in even if he loses. So Hikaru could go for.
I'm sure Hikaru wouldn't mind if Magnus had an extra black in the tournament.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, calling it right now. We gotta cover that game. Other games in the last round include.
Yeah, and people saying it's a Guns N' Roses cover of a Dylan song.
See?
I'm pretty sure this is not knocking on.
Come back.
But it's not knocking on Heaven's Door. It's a different track.
No, isn't it knocking on Heaven's Door?
Pretty sure it's not, but then again.
All I need is to be in Pulp Fiction as well, so I'd be half vindicated.
Yeah, it's Civil War. Come on, guys. Has nothing to do with Dylan. I haven't re-listened to that album in ages and ages, but it's not...
Come on, keep spraying those alternative facts. I didn't... No, I know Knocking on Heaven's Door is Dylan, but I wasn't sure on which song this failure to communicate things in.
Well,
Civil War, is that what
I knew it wasn't on... it wasn't the start to...
I know nothing about music. I shouldn't enter these arguments. Sorry. You're right. I rest my case.
Google is right, but
no, Google was the arbiter.
Yeah.
So it's not Dylan? Dylan never quoted that?
No, I think it has nothing to do with Dylan whatsoever, yeah. Dylan almost started the Civil War. My oracle is trying to come to your rescue, but I don't know if that actually works.
The only Civil War reference I know is Captain America 3 Civil War.
Oh dear.
And that's my generation. All we know is superhero movies. What did we say about last round? It's Nakamura Carlson. There were Kayaking and Kayaking's sort of out.
Kayaking's out, so I think it has to be Nakamura Carlson. Yeah. In terms of win and in situations.
And MVL is sort of, that's a big swing game. If he wins, he's in, right?
Yeah. MVL needs to win to secure his in.
If he draws,
it becomes
loses,
then all kinds of things can happen. Yeah. Even Fabi, I think, is not entirely out. The results have to go his way, but people like Shach and Fabi with the victory go to 50%, and 50% somewhat surprisingly might be enough. One guy on 50% might get in. The way if it kind of stays the way it is. Probably one guy with 50% does get in, unless MVL wins. Yeah. If MVL wins, this doesn't happen. But if MVL doesn't win, and MVL is black against Wesley, who's playing really, really well. So MVL is not favored to win, at least before the game starts. So somebody on 50% is likely to actually be...
Oh, hang on, I think we're behind. I didn't. 1 sec. Almost there. Carlson board. Sorry, I just panicked because I hadn't updated my thingies, but now we should be okay.
People are saying something weird happened in Magnus's endgame in the previous round, but we kind of missed it. Let me just briefly look it up.
Oh, I can look it up right here, right now, as long as we don't miss the beginning of the next round. Which I'm not sure when it will be.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Magnus lost a pawn endgame where he was a pawn up. That was somewhat unnecessary.
King is sort of active now, right?
Yeah, black probably has a draw, but... Yeah, h5, king c2, h4. Yeah, it is a draw after f takes g4, but taking with the h-pawn is...
Ah, he went hg and... Oh, wow.
Yeah, we missed that.
Doesn't happen often.
We missed that, and yeah, thanks for pointing us towards that game, because yeah,
Oh.
that doesn't happen to Magnus every day, or...
This is a draw, yeah?
Yeah, this is just a draw. Yeah,
King's over.
yeah it's an easy draw, but... Yeah, losing this is a bit careless.
And obviously Magnus had seen that, so he was probably mentally already
Yeah.
on to the next game. He won't be happy.
Yeah.
Do you see this other rook end game? I forgot which round it was, unfortunately, where Kayaking lost a rook end game and pawn up against Khurana.
No, I think I missed that one.
Which round could it have been?
I looked through them briefly on the phone. Yeah, that's the round.
Round 4. That was a bit of a shocker too. In this position, I would not expect Kayaking to lose with black normally.
Well, yeah, rook b4 is a bit of an
Rook a4, even I would think I'm a favorite against Fabian there, and rook b4. It might still be a draw. I didn't really count, but black has to be very, very careful.
Yeah,
So that was a bit tough as well.
yeah, that's a very uncharacteristic mistake.
And we're being informed that Magnus looked flustered and that he was running out of time.
Well,
yeah, but they
obvious-
used till 2 seconds.
Yeah. Running out of time it's what Jan said is just absolutely correct. They both knew that the pawn endgame is drawn, and they were sort of playing it out on the board because this is the accepted form these days, not to just shake hands, but to sort of show the people watching why it's a draw. And Magnus just tuned out for a second and took with the wrong pawn, and Lev wasn't really going to miss out on a free half a point.
And that means Magnus now, instead of a quick handshake or whatever, securing the extra white, he might have to work for it.
Yeah.
Hikaru,
Yeah, if
he's
Hikaru-
cunning. He might have studied the tournament situation.
Yeah, like Hikaru knows that 5 out of 9 will be perfectly enough. There's no way 5 out of 9 is not enough. So for him, yeah, it's a way potentially to improve his and everybody else's, apart from Magnus, tournament situation in the classical, because not giving that guy whites makes decent strategic sense.
Let's go full screen for a second, because we might get some facial fun here. Nah, they're both very sleepy.
You think?
Nah. How's Magnus's hair situation? It's still under control, but it could, it could go to Baden-Baden 2017 standards in like 2 months, but probably it won't happen, right?
Yeah, I think. No, but that was just some kind of a hair product mishap, wasn't it?
I'm not quite sure. He kept claiming he had a plan, and then he went to the spa, and it all went well. That's when the birds started moving into his hair, but I think he was planning to go man bun, and then he was talked out of it.
d4, g6.
As you do when you need a draw.
Yeah. So yeah, Magnus not going the most obvious way.
Maybe he thinks he needs a win.
Well, I don't think he is that bad at math. Only one guy can catch him up on 5 out of 8 if he makes a draw, and that will be a tie for 5th. So yeah, I don't think. I think he's playing Hikaru, and that has been a very, very long-standing rivalry. And
There's always something.
And he is just not playing this game for a draw. Well, unless there are some forced draws here.
This is a forced draw. There are some, at least here.
Yeah, there are some in existence. Whether they
lines of my childhood.
No,
I don't think This is the best forced draw.
Yeah.
But forced draw it is. Anyway.
Yeah, Magnus went with something else altogether.
Yeah, bishop b5 is supposed to be better.
Yeah, this is a complicated, but I think they start with h5 here. In the position they have, yeah, knight b5, queen a5, check blade, cd4, knight d4.
Yeah, and here there's bishop d4 or h5 is the most common.
Yeah, he took on f7, which is slightly surprising to me, but also obviously very playable because queen g4, bishop d4, you just trade. Yeah, these are strategically complicated positions. I thought you were supposed to give up this bishop for the knight on d4, and the knight on g4 was supposed to stay alive, but he's doing it differently.
Daniel97 is asking, wait, so what's the significance of this Blitz tournament besides the money? I'm not sure there's any money, first of all. Secondly, it is to determine what starting number you get in the classical tournament. And the starting number translates to more whites or blacks. It's a 10-player tournament, so it's 9 rounds, and that means you get either 5 white games or 4 white games. And it's a competitive advantage to have 5 white games. So the first 5 top finishers in this Blitz tournament get an extra white number. That's what they're playing for.
I'm not sure if this was required, but I quite like what Magnus got out of the opening here. He can go bishop b6 right now.
He probably knows these things. He's played the Pierts enough in classical games that he will actually be booked up.
Yeah, bishop b6, and structurally black is just favored here because he has this semi-open g-file to put pressure on the g2 pawn. If it ever gets to g3, you start undermining it with h5 and h4. It's just a very nice, solid position for black. And he goes knight d7 as well, reminding Hikaru that there's this e4 square he can name his knight towards. And I think Hikaru, more than anything else, wants to trade these bishops off. If the bishops come off, a white situation becomes immediately somewhat improved.
But anyway, it's better here. It's black, no?
Yeah. No, it's definitely somewhat better for black. The question is how much. You go bishop b3. Yeah, already played by Hikaru. And now the question is, if you take it, becomes slightly more difficult for black to push because also knight d5 will be a threat, taking additional light pieces off the board potentially. But bishop a5, bishop d4 is also not very attractive. Black is sort of one tempo away here. If after bishop a5, bishop d4, I could take on c3 and go knight e4, I'd be in clover. But yeah, rook is not on g8 yet. Which kind of begs the question whether he could include rook g8, g3 at some point and didn't. Yeah, bishops came off. Yeah, you'd like to go rook c8, c5 here, but once again, you're one tempo short.
Rook c8, knight d5, or what's happening?
Yeah, knight d5. There is knight e4 there. So maybe it's not that horrible because
g4 e6.
g4 e6 seems to be okay for black. Also, once again, you can always play rook g8, g3. Start by playing rook g8, g3, and then go rook c8, so that there's not even a possibility of white ever playing g4 in those positions.
Daniel97 is saying, the website said 11.6k euro price fund for Blitz. I might be wrong about this, it's very possible. Like, I haven't looked into it. Like, typically, I'm not sure if they had extra prices for the Blitz tournament, but it was just part of the overall package.
Yeah, not when I played there, but maybe they used to have, like, something I haven't really encountered since, you know, my junior tournaments. They used to have sort of product prizes. Like you'd get I think the top 3 got cell phones the year I played there.
Cell phones.
Yeah. But not announced money prizes. I was slightly upset about that, I remember, because I wasn't actually aware there were any prizes, and I secured my whites and didn't really care of just sort of exactly where in the top half I placed, and then I found out that there was something to play for. Yeah, as you do.
Like nice Nokia.
Those are decent headphones. Cell phones.
So this gonna be a draw?
Well, it's not much. I mean, it's still arguably black playing for a win, but because the e6 pawn is always going to be a target, it's very difficult to get the...
I like what Hikaru's been doing to create this potential.
Yeah, some b6, rook c7 ideas, but mainly the issue for black is that you want to play rook g8, rook dg7, and ask white what are you doing with this weakness on g2, but there's always going to be some kind of rook c3 move which will require black to defend the e6 pawn.
Kayaking Anand has been drawn in the meantime. I think Kayaking was sort of out of contention, and Vichy secures the 5 whites. So very understandable.
Yeah. Yeah, and people in chat saying that he didn't even try to win. Once again, I think, and you know, I'm sort of translating my own experiences to Vichy, which is not really very fair because Vichy is a lot better than me at doing these things. But energy conservation, you know, the more you do these things, the older you become, the more the idea of conserving energy appeals to you. And it feels like this game will be drawn in a moment. Yeah, handshake there. So Hikaru makes a draw. Magnus will qualify.
So they're both in.
Yeah.
Vichy's in. And where does that leave us? What's the swing spots?
There's some madness going on in Mamidyarov, Dingley Rem, but seems like Mamidyarov might be winning. So Mamidyarov, if
a win, does he have a chance?
Well, if
50%?
MVL does, yeah. So we need MVL's game. Basically, MVL needs not to win, and MVL probably will not. No, hang on.
MVL's black.
Yeah, MVL's black. So Wesley probably needs to go into a pawn down endgame, which he nonetheless should hold quite easily there. Queen e5, queen e3 has already been played, and MVL will push. But generally speaking, 3 against 2 on one side.
Wesley's done his homework. He'll hold such things.
Yeah, this is not very, very difficult. And then MVL will finish on 50% if he doesn't win this. And that means that people who can also get to 50% will, you know, we have no idea what tie breaks are and who has better ones, but there will be some calculation involved. And people who can get to 50% are Shach and possibly Fabi, yeah?
I'm reading up on stuff. If a tie, in case of a tie for first, 2 Blitz games are played. Well, there's no tie for first.
No, but that I think is about the classical. This is not about the Blitz, right? What you're reading, these are tie breaks for the classical.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, I don't. They could be exactly the same for the Blitz, but we don't know that.
I don't think if there's any tie for first, they play any further tiebreakers because really, the big idea of this is to determine who gets whites.
Yeah, and Fabi is on -1, right? So Fabi with the victory gets to 50.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So and Fabi is better / winning against Lev.
Yeah. It's not only the extra exchange, but the opposite colored bishops.
Yeah, he's already invaded with his pieces, and
coming.
That should now be more or less completely winning. Just play f5 and then start picking stuff up. Yeah. So Fabi will be on 50. MVL will be on 50, and Shach already won, so Shach also got to 50. So there will be actually a 3-way tie, for the 5th spot, and we actually have zero idea as to who of these guys
is getting smarter people.
Yeah, is getting the whites. So there's still...
And there in the chat, Ollie's already answering. Sonneborn Berger then wins, then black wins. Yeah. Does our cross table, does it give us Sonneborn Berger properly? Probably not, right?
We...
Do you know how Sonneborn Berger works?
I do.
I guess I know it in theory.
Yeah, without pen and paper, it will be difficult to calculate.
Yeah. Let's still bring this up, just so you can have a look.
Yeah, and MVL's game...
this will end in a draw.
It already has ended in a draw, so maybe if we refresh the...
You never know what happens with these refreshes, see? It's Apple Store all of a sudden. I'll get there.
Yep. So generally it's useful to do well against the top half of the field for Sonneborn, and that would favor, well, none of them. Definitely not Fabi, because Fabi scored 50% against people who have finished in the... Not 50.
I'm being told the table is probably correct when it comes to Sonneborn Berger, so that would mean Shach is in.
So Shach actually managed to stage a fabulous recovery after not really starting properly.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Bit of a toothless performance, but to still score 50% and get in is pretty good.
Yeah. And that actually makes sense if you look at this table, because, as I said, Fabi scored 3 out of 3 against people below the tie, and MVL scored 3 out of 4 against people below them. And Shah actually scored only +1. And that means that his burger generally should be better.
And people are asking if we can't implement a Sonneborn burger tiebreaker in the thing. But if I understood correctly, it might already be implemented. I'm not sure how smart this cross table is, but I've been told this is Sonneborn burger-esque. So that would mean Wesley So, Khurana, Vishianat, Magnus Carlsen, Shachmaryarov with the white games. Hard to predict those things.
And once again, one small point is that if the system stays the way it has been all these years, Wesley gets to choose exactly which number he wants.
Right.
The tradition has been to choose either number 1 or number 5. I have seen, I believe, Vladimir Kramnik actually do some calculation because for people in the bottom half of the table, they don't get to choose. They get the numbers they finished in the tournament. So MVL will be number 6 in the table. Fabi will be number 6.
There was some controversy about this, I recall, one year with Grishuk, I think. I'm not sure if he wanted to choose or if something went.
But basically, you can actually, in particular, if you're picking first, you can pick and choose who you play white against, because you kind of know what the
because you know 6 till 10.
Yeah, you know 6 till 10, and you can actually look at this and try and figure out which suits you better.
Right.
And some people who are not lazy and care enough have done this, I think, in the past. But I don't know if Wesley will go the extra mile and actually calculate and decide that he wants, I don't know.
Maybe he has some Skype people that can do that.
Yeah,
stuff,
white specifically against Fabi and Lev and not against Sergei. And you're always white against Ding Liren if you're in the top half. That's the one thing that is constant.
Everyone's white against Ding. So unfair.
Well, not everyone, but everyone who finished in the top half.
Let's see if there's anything exciting on these cameras, but I guess they're all done and rushed out of it. So, do we do the same thing?
Well, you're the boss here.
I wish. Every round is at 4:30 p.m. I'm never sure what time zone we're in. GMT +2, I guess.
4:30?
I think so.
That's incredibly weird. Why is it 4:30? Are they doing something with the traffic again?
It's a TV thing because the Norwegian TV wants primetime action for the chess. Anyway, there will be 9 classical games starting tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. our time or Norwegian time. And we'll be here for all of these games to talk you through the action. Probably, or I'm never sure, like the candidates is more exciting, but if we go by rating average, I think this is the strongest tournament of the year, no? With Magnus Carlsen.
Very possibly, yeah. This is a tremendously exciting lineup, and
we'll have another clash.
Yeah, I was about to be very, very incredulous, and then I realized that the numbers I'm seeing are the Blitz ratings. I was about to kind of say how is...
You were surprised Hikaru has 2.869
no,
in classical chess?
it's actually not that. It was Shah having 27.30 that caught my eye more than anything else for some reason. And I felt like this is not really his rating in any way, shape or form. And then it kind of... I caught myself in time.
Fair enough. All right, then that brings us to the end of today's show. Thank you guys for watching. It's been a delight. 4:30 every round, Norway chess. Congratulations to Wesley So, Hikaru Nakamura, Vishiana, Magnus Carlsen, and Shachmaryarov for getting those extra whites.
Yep.
Oops. Sorry. See you guys later.
I particularly like the oops, as if this is not exactly what you were shooting for there.
No, that was a total accident. Hang on, do we have some clip maybe? Yeah, let's play the clip.